All right, here we are. Short story long with the young Rory Kramer. Rory Kramer, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I don't
How
know
you
why
doing?
I felt like I could have been saying Kramer wrong, even though it's pretty obvious.
Well, usually it's Rory that's wrong. It's like Roy, Corey.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, okay.
So
Rory
that's
Kramer,
why I'm
first
like
try.
rusty when I go to like Starbucks and whatnot because they always spell it wrong. I'm like Rory.
I feel like that's a
Comes out
thing.
Ray.
I feel like they tell their employees, like, yo, spell people's names wrong because
I
that's like a thing.
I think it is a part of
Because
their
then people
job now.
post it and, like,
Yeah.
you know. Um, Rory, welcome to Short Story Long.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for squeezing me into your hectic schedule of like jumping off roofs and filming TV shows and just
Yeah,
being I mean, I really like your like at least the way your life looks on social media. I'm a huge fan of, and I'm guessing it's probably pretty accurate.
yeah. It's pretty accurate. I mean,
Like you're real quick to jump off a roof.
if that's usually the first thing. Like if there's a pool, like the first thing I do is scope out like the house and see if it's close enough to jump.
Yeah,
And
that one photo that you posted not that long ago of it was a pretty high roof. I don't even know how to describe it.
oh yeah, yeah.
It's like a three-story. Like it looked
Yeah.
really tall. I don't know if I
Well,
would have done
Bieber
that.
Bieber released that song with DJ Khaled, "I'm the One,"
Yeah.
and it went #1. So he wanted to throw a party. Well, his team took it the wrong way, and he thought they wanted to throw a rager, but he just wanted to have get this house and have like 15 close friends come over.
Got it.
And so, as soon as I got there, I was just like, I gotta
There's a
jump off
roof.
the roof.
Look at
And
that. A
so
roof and a pool.
jumped off the roof that night, and then the next morning I was like, I gotta do it again, get a photo. So I jumped off, and yeah.
And there was no injuries or nothing.
No injuries. I mean, I'm
looked
at
pretty
least
tall.
pretty smart about it. Like
Yeah.
if I'll back down if it doesn't look feasible.
Have you ever had a roof to pool injury?
Uh, no, I'm not. Luckily, the first one I ever did in high school, I jumped off my buddy's roof, and I was like, I think I could flip that, and I went back up and flipped it, and I made it by like a foot.
Like gainer or front flip?
Front flip. I over rotated and just smacked.
Are
But
you a gainer guy? Do you know how to gainer?
yeah, I can gainer.
I suck at gainering. There's something about running forward and flipping backwards. My brain shuts off, sort of around the upside down point.
The mental
And I
block.
just sort of
See, that's it. You literally have to like focus your brain and just like tell yourself this is how to do it, and then you literally just have to.
Just
All
commit.
you like when you jump, commit, and just keep tucking and look back, and then
Yeah.
you just gotta do it.
the art of the gainer. Kids, don't say we never taught you anything here on Short Story Long. We just taught you how to gainer. So Rory, let's take it back to the very beginning. Where are you from?
I grew up in southern Indiana, a little town called Tell City.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know you're from Indiana.
yeah.
That's real close to Ohio.
Oh yeah.
What
And you're from what part?
Akron?
Akron. Yeah, my parents are up in Cleveland,
Really?
Lakewood, Rocky River. Grew up there.
Man, small
So I
world.
feel
And
the-
Indiana and Ohio are pretty much the same.
Yeah, so I feel your struggle with the Cavs.
Yeah, it was a rough.
You're at the game,
It was a
right?
rough week. I was at game 3.
That was
So in Cleveland. So I went 2 years ago. I went to game 6 against Golden State in Cleveland, and they lost the entire series at the game we were at. It was absolutely horrendous and just the most depressing thing ever. And then we went to game 3 this year, and they lost again. I think I'm just bad luck, but they were winning essentially the whole game, and then they just lost last minute. But I'll just tell you, like Cleveland, I love Cleveland, and that's sort of the hometown. But like, there's this really good area of like bars and restaurants and stuff that was built when LeBron was coming back from Miami, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
right around the stadium, it looks incredible. It looks like Chicago or something.
okay.
But right outside of that is sort of Cleveland, which
Yeah.
is still a little shitty.
Yeah.
And so when you go there, it's like before the game, there's so much energy. Everyone's so excited, happy, whatever. And then when they lose, man, it's like that entire area just shuts down, and everyone's just like pissed off and walking home. Like it's. I might never go to another Cleveland game.
Dude, they were shut down for decades.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, watching those games with like my parents, it's just like, it's a bloodbath. My
Yeah.
mom's like, I've never heard her cuss, and she's just cussing at the TV.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
That's why I never got into like football, because the Browns were just so horrible my whole
I
childhood.
see you got a Browns jersey over there.
Well, I do. I try to keep the spirit alive a little bit, and they gave me a drama jersey, drama '86, and I keep it in the shelf in case they ever start winning.
Yeah.
So what were you into at a? How old are you?
I'm 33.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, okay, cool. I don't know why I thought you could be like 24.
A lot of people think that.
That's dope.
I don't know. I just think age is like a number. I have a bunch of friends that are like 20.
Yeah.
Got friends that are like 50.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like if you can relate to a person, then that's all that matters. at the
Yeah,
end of
yeah,
the day.
no, it's cool. What what were you into as a kid? Like, paint me the picture of sort of young Rory's life.
Oh
Like,
man,
what?
I just found these photos the other day for this project I'm working on, and I had bleach blonde hair. So in like junior high or growing up in grade school, I had to deal with mom where I could pick out my clothes 2 days a week, and she got the other three. So it was polos, Nautica, all preppy stuff, khaki shorts.
Really?
Yeah.
Why was she like a sort of a strict?
No, just I think she just I was her favorite. So I mean,
How many brothers and
I
sisters?
have two older brothers, older sister.
Did she do that to them or no?
I don't know. I'm like 9 years younger than my oldest brother. My sister's like 30. I think I'm like I don't even. This is bad. I never know her age. I'm like 5, 6 years younger than her. So
So for some reason, little Rory, she just
yeah.
said,
So
but at least she made you a deal.
yeah. I mean, some of these photos are bad, man. I look terrible. But so then, like the other days, I would wear no fear shirts and like basketball jerseys. I was a huge Chris Webber fan. Michigan Fab Five, and it was like out on the playground, like shirt came off, and it was just the tank top,
Yeah.
the jersey. Thought I was badass.
I'm here for business.
Yeah,
Anything I can gain her off of here?
I wasn't into it yet. Like that's how I got into like cliff jumping. My older brother, he had to babysit me,
Mm-hmm.
and he was just like, well, I'm gonna miss out going with my friends, so he would just take me on these crazy adventures with his friends, and they would be jumping off these cliffs.
Like in Indiana?
Yeah,
Got it.
and like these like rock quarries and whatnot. And I don't even know, like 8, 9, and I was just terrified.
Uh-huh.
And like all like having an older brother, like whatever, like looked up to him, and I was like, that's all I want to do is be able to jump off a cliff.
Yep.
And then when I got older, I was just videoing everything and jumping off stuff, and I was just like, yeah, now I'm cool.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah.
Were you into like skating or biking or anything?
Yeah. So junior high, I got into skateboarding. I was in a band. We were called Stoked. We were
Nice.
terrible. I went from guitar to bass really quickly, so they could cover up my
Your lack of talent.
Yeah, my lack of talent. But I was huge into like Blink 182.
Were you playing like local shows or anything?
Oh yeah, like all the school dances.
Yeah.
My friend's garage, like man, shout out to his mom, like for putting up with
That
us
would
playing there
suck.
all the time.
If I had kids and they're like, "Hey, Dad, we're gonna start a band," I'd be like, "Fuck."
Dude, if you got the money, just build them a garage like miles away.
Yeah.
Let them go play there.
Worst case. My friends had a band growing up, and because I played the drums growing up, and I remember they had a band, and I don't know why I wasn't invited in. Maybe I was not very talented, I guess. Now that I look back at it, but they would always be in this kid's basement. Same thing, like just jamming, and like the poor kid's mom just went through hell.
Yeah.
You know.
So I was doing that, and then high school, my freshman year, like my best friend and I, we just took my mom's like RCA VHS camera,
Uh-huh.
and we just thought like our lives were so cool that we needed to document everything. And when I say everything, we were like going to student council meetings, bringing the camera, and like it was terrible footage. But
Yep.
like after 4 years of high school, just documenting everything, and then like slowly, like with like I worked at like McDonald's all through high school, and like I bought like an actual camera, and so I had like 4 years of footage. And I was like, I bet I could make a video. And like Jackass was huge at the time. And so I was watching like skate videos, and every day after school would be skating. Or, I mean, I was into sports as well. So, but I just had like 4 years of like crazy footage, and I put it together in this video called Losers.
Uh-huh.
I hope you die, ... Aria. I hope you die, Aria.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really cool.
That's really some early like Jackass type
Yeah.
shit, like CKY.
So I brought it to school the first day, and like I played it in homeroom, and everybody just came around my computer and started watching. They're like, "Yo, can I buy this?" And I was like, "Yes, you can tomorrow."
But like, what was the okay? So let me just take it back a second. So number one, you stumble across this camera, and for some reason you're just drawn to it. Like you're just like, or was it
I
more
think
about
what it was like? I like like when I was saying like I had this older brothers, and they're always like jumping off cliffs. I could never get their attention, or if I'd be like, "Yo, come watch me like shoot a basketball off the roof," like.
Yeah.
It'd probably take me 50 tries to make it.
Yep.
And like, they'd lose their interest, and they'd be with their friends. I was like, always want to impress them because they're like these older brothers, and
Yeah.
looked up to them. And so when I got a camera, like when I saw that you could capture one moment and just play it back, it was just like, I was obsessed with it because I would do something like make it like jump off a roof or whatever, and I would film it, and then
Yeah.
I could just, yo, watch this.
Yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah.
they would be like, oh, this is cool. And then I saw how like I had their attention.
Yep.
And so it was like, now I got all these clips. And I put it together. And I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
Finally got my brother's attention.
Yeah. So it wasn't as much about like the camera, like being a videographer as much as capturing the moments, right?
Exactly. That's exactly what it was. I was never like, I never wanted to be like a photographer or videographer. I just liked the idea of capturing the moments.
Yeah.
And being able to relive them.
Yeah, that's interesting. What so you were just going around doing a bunch of crazy shit, and then what grade were you in, did you say, when you released Losers Kill Yourself in Diarrhea?
I was a senior in high school. And so the first day I sold 9 copies, and this is like, you had to burn the file to a CDR. You had to put it in your computer, drag it to your desktop, and watch it on your computer.
Yep.
And I sold 9 the first day for $5 each, and I was like $45. Like in high school, like I was like, I'm gonna be fucking rich.
Yeah.
And my buddy and I went straight to Walmart after school, and we're like, do we buy the 50 pack or the 100 pack? We're gonna be so rich, famous. And like, we made like $500. I bought another video camera, and now I'm like, yeah, I can have double angles of everything. Now the videos are gonna have more production value. And like, there was this huge ordeal with like my town because like, I had some like inappropriate stuff, some nudity, some like,
like streaking and shit.
Kids, just using the restroom in public places, like at a park maybe. And it's just, looking back at it now, it's just like innocent fun, but like I didn't realize what I was like capturing and putting out there. That was just, I shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
And so like the cops show up to school and they're like, yo, you can't be selling this video. Like all these junior high kids have it. I was like, I don't sell it to anybody but my friends. And I was like, I can't control who they give it to.
Yeah.
And so I went from like a town of 8,500, and like I knew everybody in town. Like I played on the football team. Like I'd say I was pretty popular. I was friends with everybody, but I was friends like with the skate kids, the stoners, whatever. Like if I liked you, I liked you. And there was no like kind of like, oh, you're not cool enough. It was just like, if I vibed with you, I vibed with you.
Yeah.
And so, and all the teachers kind of like, because they saw like a lot of people were just like, oh, we can't be associated with this video.
Yeah.
And so like a lot of people kind of turned their backs on me. And a lot of my friends were just like not cool with it because they're like their parents would be in their ear like, oh, he's a bad kid.
And how did it become such a big deal? Like did the cops, I guess, what ended up happening? Like, so the cops came, did they take the video, did they confiscate like everyone's videos, or how did it sort of?
So what first happened was there's this party scene where my buddy would throw these parties on the weekend. I didn't drink till I was 21. So I would just jump off roofs into bushes. Everybody would think I was out of my mind.
Yeah.
They're like, yo, what are you drinking? I got to get that. I'm like, not doing that. What do you want? I got to have that. I was like, it's on life, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I had like a bunch of my friends drinking in the thing, and I made like this little party scene. And then all the parents were pissed off at me for exposing their kids drinking. I was like, why don't you mad at your kids? Like, I'm not the one that's drinking
I'm
here.
just jumping into bushes.
Yeah,
over
I
here,
was like,
ma'am.
My mom's got her hands full of me.
Yeah.
And so, but she asked for it. She was like, you never get into trouble. You should go get into trouble. And
Really?
literally, like, cops started calling the house, like, yo, your son's skateboarding on top of this abandoned building. 2 weeks later, the building caves in. And I'm like, oh, God.
Yeah. Really? So she started to say, like, you should go live alone.
Literally, like, I was an angel. I didn't do anything. Like I said, I didn't drink, smoke, do any kind of drug until 21. And, like, yeah, I think I was just afraid of getting in trouble. And then she's like, go get in trouble. And I did.
And you did. And then what happened when you did? Like, did she get mad then? Or was she like, not so bad?
I mean, my mom, like, she's the best. She puts up with so much of my crap. Like, again, I'm her favorite. So I literally get away with murder.
Yeah.
And
so you have murdered someone.
Yeah, I have.
Yep. And she didn't mind.
No,
Okay.
she helped cover it up.
So I guess what I'm getting at is, like, I'm just trying to wrap my head around. So it obviously in these small towns, like, it just gets blown up. People know the video exists. People know you're the guy.
Like, I knew it was bad whenever, like, my favorite teacher, who's like everybody's favorite teacher, didn't come to my graduation party. And, like, he coached me all through sports. And I was really, like, he just bummed. Like, he's like that guy, like, everybody's like, you can joke with him. And he's like, that's the cool guy at school.
Yeah.
So he came afterwards, and, like, he comes up, and, like, I'm pissed. Like, he comes to my door, and he's like, here you go. They're bath towels. They're bath towels for college. And I was like, all right, cool. And he's walking out of my garage, and he looks out the window, and he's like, yo, is that where you ramped the bike from that video? And I'm like, motherfucker. I was like, you've seen the video, and I know you want to be like, yo, that was cool, but you can't.
Yeah.
And so I get it now because like, you know, like these teachers, like one of the teachers like bought a video from me, but he didn't realize what he was doing. He was just like, yo, I'm supporting you. And
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know.
So that was a big thing then. I mean,
Yeah,
that was
it
like you were
I was the
devastated.
talk of the town, and it was just like, yeah, and that's kind of like, it was like they turned their back on me, and I just never came back to
Yeah.
that town.
Yeah. No, that's I get it, man. And at the time you didn't have the hindsight that you have now to be like, oh, this is what was kind of happening, right? You were just like, fuck, like what happened? I was
Yeah.
just trying to make something and everyone hates me now.
Yeah, so then I went to college, and I thought it was going to be just like high school. I went to IU, Indiana University.
Now let me ask you this. What was your goal as far as college? Like, did you have
I didn't want to go to college.
at all? Was that
No,
mom?
my dad was like, yo, we're going to pay for your college.
Yep.
And I was like, I want to move to California. I'm going to be in a band. Thank God he was like, you're going to college, because I was not good at music
Yeah.
like I thought I was.
Yeah. That's always
And-
one thing I talk about a lot is like, if your kids have a dream, right? Everyone's like, dream big and chase your
Yeah.
dreams. But like, if your kids have a dream that isn't necessarily right for them, like let's say you want to be in the NBA,
Mhm.
I think it's the parent's responsibility to be like,
Just a little reality check.
maybe college,
Yeah.
or maybe
And it's
get a camera.
I grew up at a time where like you had to go to college to get a job.
Yeah.
Like you don't have social platforms like you do now, and you can't build like a brand out of nothing and be somebody.
Yep.
So back then it was like, my dad was like, go to college, and if you still want to like move to California afterwards and be in a band, you can.
Yep.
And so
What
I
was
like,
your major?
telecommunications. They didn't have a film degree, and like literally my dad picked out all my freshman classes. He's like, yo, look, this one talks like there's a Hollywood class. You watch movies, and he's like, you'd be interested in that. And like, so he literally was just like trying to help me like get excited about it. And I
Mhm.
went, and it was literally it was the first time in my life that like I wasn't living with my parents.
Yep.
So they dropped me off, my older brother. They're like, all right, see ya. And I'm like, wait, where are you going? They're like, we're going home. And I was like, what?
How far from home was it?
2 hours, but
Okay.
not a single kid from my high school went there. So I knew no one.
It was probably good after you were just like the villain.
Well, I thought
know, you get to start over.
Well, I thought it was gonna be just like high school. I'm gonna make friends with everybody, and it was just like it didn't happen. I was like this punk rock emo kid that like couldn't get girls.
Yeah.
Like I had friends on my floor, and like that was about it.
Yeah.
And it was just like
So it was not
like
good.
a lot of the tricks and stuff that I did in high school, like the pranks and stuff. Just people at college were like, dude, like that's not cool, and like it was rough, and it was like I didn't really have like an identity in college or any kind of direction of what I wanted to do,
Yeah.
because like again, like social platforms didn't exist, whereas like a job of like what I do now for a living was not even feasible.
Yeah.
Like
It's just interesting how sometimes you're like you can kind of be the cool crazy guy jumping off roofs and stuff, and in one area of your life it works and you
Mhm.
build all these friends and everyone loves you, and then literally a year later it's like, what are you doing, dude? Why are you
Yeah.
jumping off the roof?
yeah, but I think in life you gotta experience those kind of like, whether it's a reality check or hitting bottom, and kind of like otherwise it's just like it doesn't give you a sense of like real direction,
Yeah.
and like of just it allows you to appreciate different things.
Yeah.
I think so.
But what do you think, like, I guess if there was a lesson learned from that phase, is it like to not worry about what people think, or is it like how to fit in better? Or like, what do you think you took away from that?
I think what I took away from that was that you got to work for whatever you want, whether it's like you got to find out who you are and what you're after and what you're trying to who you're trying to be, what you're trying to sell. And I think then like that's when I started spending my summers at my parents' lake house in northern Indiana.
Uh-huh.
And that's like where I always just tell people I'm from. I just
Yeah.
say I'm from the lake,
Why?
because like that's kind of like where I found myself, and like I like, still have like my best friends are from there.
Yep.
And I go home every summer for 4th of July.
And that's where you go.
Yeah.
You don't ever go back to the.
Well, they sold that house.
Got it.
And my brother lives about 45 minutes from where we grew up. And like now when I show up, like I showed up like it was like the first time in like 6-7 years, like
Uh-huh.
probably 2 years ago. And I just posted like a photo of me like outside like the town sign.
Yeah.
And like it just the town kind of went crazy. Like
Really?
people started showing up at the McDonald's that I was at, and they were just like, hey, you're Rory, right? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, and then, like people were like, oh, you should stop by the high school. And I'm like, this is weird.
Yeah. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it's crazy.
That happens too. And, obviously there was some moments like that in Akron where I'm from. And because it's so small, it's the weirdest feeling of like, and I don't know, for me, when I was in high school, I was real like quiet and kept my hood up, and all I wanted to do was go skate, right? So the
Yeah.
moment, like in school, I was quiet, and then the moment school was up, I just wanted to go skate, and I didn't really mess with anyone. And so going back there now and having teachers say, "Oh, I knew you were gonna be big," and I knew, but it's like, no, you didn't,
Right.
man. Like you didn't, like you didn't even talk to me. But it's cool, but it's this sort of just weird like warp in reality, you know?
Did you know what you wanted to do when you moved out here?
No.
You just kind of
So when I moved out here, long story short, because these listeners have heard it a few times,
Right,
is I just knew I wanted to get out of Ohio and I wanted to do anything in skateboarding. So
Gotcha.
actually, one of the first emails that I wrote to Rob saying like, "Hey man, I'll do fucking anything," was that I would film him skating or film anyone
Yeah.
because I was really into filming too.
Yeah.
And so whatever. So then I just came out here hoping to get a job at a skate shop and just be out here. I don't know, my
Yeah.
dreams, and that's why I don't know, I'm pretty big on preaching like to just sort of take the next step. It's not necessarily about building these big dreams that are almost unattainable and you're scared to take the first step. It's like take the next step, because my dreams pretty much peaked at like living in an apartment in Los Angeles and being able to skateboard every day. Like I couldn't even think bigger than that. It wasn't
wow.
until I
Yeah.
came here and we started doing all this stuff, and then all of a sudden we're filming a TV show and we're doing all these different things, that like your goals sort of get bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And that's what's so crazy when I look at my general perspective of life. It's like I would have never even thought that big had I not just pursued the next thing. And now you feel like anything's possible.
Yeah, that's what I loved about like you on the show and like your story is like I watched from like the first episode through all of it.
Yeah.
And so like you could tell like you're just like I'm just here. I just want to be
Yeah.
a part of the action,
Yes.
whatever. And then it was cool to see you as time went on, like this is what I want to do, and then you develop it into this brand and
Yep.
whatnot. And I think that's really important. Is like just because you don't have something figured out right now doesn't mean you're not going to.
Yeah.
And it was like it was really cool to see you transform throughout the years and do something.
Yeah, my perspective was very much, and this kind of, when I retell it, sometimes it seems a little fucked up maybe in my mind, but really it was like I would have like anxiety attacks outside the house during Rob and Big when like it was time to go film and shit, because I didn't like being the center of attention, or like I didn't want to be on camera. It was too much pressure. It was all this stuff, but I just knew that there was action happening here. There's progress.
Yeah.
Like people are doing shit. We're creating brands and getting cool content, and I would just want to be a part of that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I would go, and that's also why in the early days I was such like the butt of all the jokes, because I was down for anything. I was like,
Right.
sure, you want to shave
You're
my
like, I
head
just
and go
don't
to
wanna miss-
Vegas? Like, I
Yep.
just want to be in on this shit, right? And
Dude, the rat one, that was my favorite with
oh,
you.
man, we were just talking about that the other day because we were doing a recap, they're doing a Big Black special on what's the
Sorry
day?
to hear about that.
That's okay. Yeah, it's crazy.
Listen to that podcast is great.
What's the date? Yeah, so on the 20th or 21st. So I guess right around the time that this airs, they're doing a special, but they were pulling up the rap footage.
Oh my
And I
God.
was like, man, that was one of the scenes that like was so, I really had no idea what the hell was going on. I was so confused, like all eyes on me. And I'm like, what the hell is going on?
It's my favorite scene. He's just cracking out. Shake your blackberry.
Yeah, it's so good. But that was that was the epitome of like, I just wanted to be in on the action, but I didn't know exactly what the end goal was.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
you could just feel the energy, right? You could just feel
Yeah.
like I don't want to be missing out on.
You just know when you're in the energy, and you know when you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Yep.
like I've learned that at a young age, and there's times when I'm just out of the momentum and I'm out of the energy, and I'm like, fuck, I need to get back in the flow, you know? But what was your original question that made me, oh, when I came out here, did I have a goal? No.
Yeah.
So I guess then, like, in high school, in college, are you still filming and stuff, or no? Did that
Yeah,
kinda-
I was trying to find like, I was trying to take my camera to parties and it just wasn't the same. And then like, so on the floor, like it was never really like I was trying to master the art. Like
Yeah.
I was so like I love Jackass and I was a huge like Bam Margera fan because, well, I love the whole crew, but what I liked about him so much was he was editing the videos, he was shooting the videos,
Yep.
he was in the videos.
Yep.
And so then I was like, I would see a clip and I'd be like, I'd pause it like, what camera is that? I need that camera.
Yeah.
And it was like, because you didn't have the internet like now where it's like, hey, Rory Kramer, what camera do you use? And it was just like, okay, I need to find this camera that has a little flip out screen with the lunchbox handle.
Yep.
It was like, all right, cool, Sony VX 2100.
Yep.
And so I spent all my money on that. And yeah, and like that was just like my grind. And it was just like, it was all about, obviously, like when you're younger, you don't know what you truly want.
Yeah.
Like, well, some people do, some people don't. I just knew I wanted to like one day have like this TV show, be famous, all that. Thank God I didn't, because I feel like it would have just ended really quickly. Because I didn't have like a.
When you were younger, you mean?
Yeah, like when I was like 16, it was just like, I was like, oh, I want to be in a band, but like Blink-182, and it was just like, yeah, you want to do this stuff and have success, but it was like it didn't have like a real substance or purpose.
Yeah, or like foundation.
Where it would have a longevity or whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
no, that happens a lot with early success in anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny too, because I remember, man, my one of my fondest memories was getting my first VX 1000.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was at eBay. Like I eBayed it, and I tried to find the perfect one and the right deal. I saved up all my money, and then got my VX 1000. It was like literally my
You bought it off eBay?
yeah.
Dude, I bought mine off eBay, and it was like this, like, buy it now, and it was like $500 lower than anything, and it was like this, like, Russian kind of like screen name,
Sketchy
and I was
thing.
just, I like, $2,000 for a college kid. I mean, like, I was eating, like, the money like I was getting for food, I would just pocket, and I would just go to the grocery and buy like ramen and eat cheap, so I could like save up money. I was working 2 jobs.
Yep.
And I literally just gave this guy my money, and I'm like waiting in the mail, like, to not get screwed, because you hear all these people that
Oh,
get
of course,
screwed
especially
over.
then.
Yeah.
Because then it was way harder to like check and verify. And whatever.
Mhm. So luckily I got the camera, and it was just
It worked.
Yep.
Oh
It
man, I
was
thought you were gonna
brand
say like
new.
you got sent like
No, man. That even happened out here. Like I bought a 5D Mark III. I was just gonna up my game, and I was just like, screw it, just blow all my money. And I find this person off Craigslist, and they're like, yo, I'll meet you at the In-N-Out. And I'm like, is this even legal to
Oh,
like? Is
man.
this like stolen camera? Like,
it just
because
feels
this was
like
around
a
the time
kidnap
like where
scene.
people would just like hijack like Apple trucks and then sell iPhones and iPads.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, yo, is this camera hot? What's going on? So I come to In-N-Out with $3,000 in my pocket, and I'm just like, the cops pull up, and I'm just like, like, do they know? Like, is this like, am I getting set up? Like, is
a
this like,
sting.
and this freaking a tall, skinny model Russian girl comes around the corner, just gorgeous, with this 5D Mark III unopened, and she just walks around. She's like, you have the camera? Or you have the money? I'm like, yeah. She's like, here, open it up, check it, take blah, blah, blah. And like,
It's
I'm
a
looking at the
movie
camera.
scene.
Yeah, and she's just counting $3,000 right there on the picnic table outside, and I'm just like, when am I getting arrested? It's just like, what's going on? And it all was
And that
legit,
was it.
but I was just so paranoid because I
Oh,
never
weird.
experienced
That
something
is
like
a little weird. If that
Yeah.
happened now, I'd be like, what the fuck?
that.
It's funny, man. So then I guess you didn't have a super solid plan then in like college when you're filming all these videos. You just knew that you like to film videos, you like to get content.
Yeah.
You like making music. It sounded like, right?
Yeah, I was
But there was
really into
no-
music.
Was there ever another video? Did you ever do another video like the first one that you
Man,
sold?
yeah,
Or anything like
Losers 2, Scissor Legs all the way up to the Jungle Book. Losers 3, Take a Malala. Losers 4, Feed the Bush.
that? Oh man.
Those just weren't hits like the first one, man.
Damn, it was good that your dream didn't
Right?
die. Like I thought after
Yeah.
the first scandal, you'd be like, I'm never making another loser.
No, man, it was just like, I told the cops when they came in, I was just like, yo, you're just going to make the second one that much bigger.
Did you really say that?
Yeah, I was just
Oh,
like, yo.
man.
And like, I was such like, I thought I was the coolest. Like, I had like a little pocket tape recorder. And I
Yeah.
just put it on the thing. I was like, they're like, what are you doing? I was like, you're talking to me. I'm like, I don't have a lawyer present. I need to record this. And they're just like,
Get out of here, you little
Yeah.
loser.
yeah, exactly.
What? Damn it, man! So you made a bunch more losers.
I made a bunch more losers. And then like in college, I started spending my entire summers at this lake I was growing up at.
Oh yeah.
And I got huge into, my brother again was like into wakeboarding. So I got into wakeboarding. And so I got into like actual wake skating where you're not like attached to the board. You do that on the water.
How
and-
does that work? How do you start? Like, how do you meet? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, you kind of just like the boat's pulling you and you crouch up like this and like you angle the board and it's like a snowplow.
uh-huh.
And like as it pulls, like the water pressure keeps it to your feet. You pop up.
How crazy?
It's awesome.
How fucking crazy? Can you do like tricks and shit?
Oh yeah, I was doing like wake to wake, pop shove it's, kick flips.
Really?
Yeah.
God damn
I was
it.
sloppy, but I could do it.
We did wakeboarding in Ohio, but that was it. We peaked peaked at wakeboarding, and I could never hop like a foot.
Yeah, my brother was awesome at it, and I was just like, I'll never be as good as him. So I'm gonna get into wake skating because I was into skateboarding, and so did that. And like every single day, I'd work at this marina from like 8 to 4, and as soon as I was done from 4 to 9, my buddies and I would go out in the boat and just shred, and try to get better and film everything. And I started making these lake videos, like Clear Lake Chainsaw Massacre, like they were all spoofed off
Your
these like,
library is
dude, it was like
incredible.
they were all like murder horror movies meets like wakeboarding.
Yeah.
So I would try to have these like scripted like thing.
Oh, you did? Did you like acting, like short films?
Yeah. So it'd be like spliced in with the action, and
Yep.
so.
And did you guys go try to sell those too, or those were just for like personal?
Yeah, like I thought I was gonna be this pro wake skater and like go down to Orlando and like just run the town and work for all these guys making videos and just be super rich. And after college, I moved to Orlando, and I literally worked for Scott Byerly, who is like the godfather of the sport.
Yeah.
Like you don't get
wake skating?
Wakeboarding
wakeboarding?
and
Okay,
like he was of wakeboarding, but then he got into wake skating, and he had this like company called Volume Wake Skate Videos.
Yep.
And I just I found his number on like the internet. Like back then, you could just look up somebody's name and it would tell you their number. And I called him. I was just like, "Yo, I want to film for your company." And he's like, "What? Like, what are you even talking about, kid?"
Yeah.
So he goes to lunch, me, him, and his wife, and my buddy, who I'm still friends with to this day. Like I'm still friends with all of them actually, but I still shoot with this guy. And so they were like, "Yeah, we've never had anybody like just call us up like that's not in our circle." And so I started shooting with them, and I was like riding with all these guys I grew up like idolizing.
Yeah.
And like they loved my videos, and they're like always calling me to come film because I was just down.
Yep.
And after about a year, it was like, man, I was like, yo, I got to move home. I was like, I can't like, how many free boards can I take? Like, I get it. Like, it's just, there's no living here. I was like, my dream of like being this like wakeboarding videographer is like, there's no money.
So at that point, were you like, I'm over this as a whole?
Man, I moved back. Well, I also dislocated my shoulder. You know those flow riders that you could like surf on?
Yes.
So I was an instructor on that because like no one could work the day shift. It was the hardest job to get, but nobody could work the day shift because they're all in school.
Yep.
And so when this guy found out that I was out of college, he was just like, "Can you work during the day?" So I worked Monday through Friday on this thing, and it got really good. I'd have all my pro wakeboarder friends come in.
I really want to try one of those things.
It's fun. But I like got pretty good, and I was doing a kickflip, and it shot out, and I just landed, and it popped my shoulder out of socket. So I moved home for the summer to get surgery, and I was like, man, what am I gonna do with my life? I was dating this girl from Indiana, and then I was like, because the only job like really for like video back then was just like to make a living was like work for a news station or work like shooting like a basketball game, like doing just coverage.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, and it was like because I thought I was gonna be this video guy for like wakeboarding, and I was just like, man, if I can't even make money off that, there's no way I'm gonna make money doing anything.
Yep.
So I was like, I should go back to college. So I signed up. I was like, I'm gonna be a teacher because like I was a substitute teacher, and it was like so awesome because all these kids were like, dude, you're the shit, man.
After Orlando?
Yeah, I went back because I had surgery and like I couldn't work.
So go ahead.
I was in a sling for a month, and I couldn't do any work except for like teaching. So I went and substitute taught, and like the money was good, and like it was easy because all the kids were just like, yo, you're dope, like you're cool. And so I connected with all these kids, and I was like, I like kids, like maybe I'll just be a teacher, that'd be cool.
How fucking crazy.
So
How do you go, what the hell? Okay, keep going. Sorry.
So I go back for literally the first day, and I'm sitting in the classroom. I'm like, what the I just sat through 4 years of college. I can't do another 2.
Yeah.
I was like, what am I doing? I drop out, get my money back, and I'm just like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. And this girl probably did me the biggest favor of my life. She dumps me, and I'm like heartbroken. I'm just like, you're a slut. You're like, you know, like even though they don't cheat on you, you just call them the worst names. You're like, you ruined my life.
Yeah,
and I was going to move to Indianapolis, like to be close to her. And then I call my buddy, and he was literally living like right up in up Vine in the hills.
Yep.
A bunch of guys from college got there, just moved out there from IU, and I knew them.
Got it.
And I was like, yo, I'm gonna come visit you guys this year. Like, it looks like you guys have so much fun out there. And he's like, dude, just move out here. Guys moving out. Like, you can moving out. Like, you can come out whenever. I was like, dude, I can come tomorrow. He's like, give us a week.
Okay.
So my dad's like, I think that's a great idea. Like, you know, it's like you're into this, that's where you need to be for this action. And like, you know, there's going to be all sorts of jobs for like filming and stuff. So he got me like, he was excited about it. And now like,
Really?
all right, cool. So he's like, I'll drive you. So we load up my Toyota Corolla. We drive. He drove every single mile because I was literally sitting in my seat like this because I had like a 13-inch TV down here that I thought I needed. Like, who's bringing the box TV that's 13 inches?
Oh,
like, I was like, I need to have a TV. Exactly. So I'm like, Dad, you want me to drive? He's like, no, you look so uncomfortable over there.
So you rode across the country Indian style.
Yeah. Much. And like just annoying my dad. Yep. Like, I think that's why he still never came out here to visit. He's just like, yeah, I'll just fly home.
Whatever.
He's
man.
like, I don't want to be stuck. Like, at least in Indiana, if you're annoying me, I can go ride my horse and go ride my bike.
Yeah.
In LA, I feel like I'm just gonna be trapped.
He's on your time.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he drove me out here, and it was just like, it was awesome. I almost didn't last out here. Like the first month.
Let me ask you this: what was like? Did you have the moment of like getting here? You move into the house. How long did Dad stay?
A week. Like the weekend.
Okay.
Just the weekend.
And then was the initial feeling like, holy shit, Los Angeles is amazing? Or like,
it was so overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like, luckily we were in the hills because it had like this dope view, and like we'd have like beer pong parties on Saturday, and it was just like, that was all cool. And I was like, but I came from Indiana where if I want to drive somewhere, it's 10 miles, you're there in 10 minutes or less.
Yeah.
So I was like, I was always trying to go down to Travis Barker's store, The Fast Life, because I was like super into like those clothes, and like it took me forever to get down to like 3rd Street, and I was just like, man, I was driving at all the wrong times.
Yeah.
And like you didn't have apps back then to tell you where to drive, when to drive, and I was thinking about moving home after a month because like I'd saved up like 15 grand, and I literally was just $1,000 a month was just going real quick.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, man, I don't know.
Oh, that's how much rent was.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like before that, I was paying like $300 in college.
Yeah.
So.
For like a house.
Yeah. Exactly. For a mansion.
Yeah.
So this was expensive, and it was another one of those reality checks where it's just like, whoa, I need to have like an income. And I was trying to get into acting out here. Like I was like getting headshots and building my reel. Dude, I have this acting reel. It's like Chainsmokers' favorite thing. It's like, I was making my own videos to like build my own reel because I was like, oh, I can video. I was like, I can just write the stuff that I'm good at. Yep. I'll have a killer reel.
So you were acting for yourself.
Yeah, because I was like, I'll build this reel, and then like I would try to meet somebody, I give my reel, and they're like, what am I watching? It was so bad, dude.
So what happened? Did you go like on? Obviously you went on like
I went on some auditions, and it was just like, and that was the thing. Like I think that's where I got my work ethic. It was like I experienced like you'd be in something, you think like, oh, they have these nice cameras, like this is gonna be a cool production, and it would be 6 months, and you'd be like, yo, where's that video? They're still not done. Sometimes you'd never get it, or it'd be like a year later you see it, and it's just like, this is shit.
Yeah.
And I hated waiting that long, and so I started working this. My cousin, she like called up this guy, her friend that lived here, and she's like, yo, you got to take Rory under your wing, like get him like plug him in. So he finds me this job, and it's like literally, it was at what's the building now? It's at SVE down the street.
Yep. Right
so it was the Variety building back then.
Yep.
And we went into probably a room a little smaller than this, and it was a 2-week job, and it was supposed to be doing quality control. So you'd literally just sit in a chair, watch movies, and you'd make any notes like, okay, the audio drops out at the 4-minute mark.
Jesus.
And so this guy like had worked for Apple and helped start up the video store, and then started getting all these crazy offers for jobs. And he's like, yo, if you're going to pay me 100 grand, you're going to pay me 80 grand. Like, I'm obviously worth something. So he quit his job and he started this company because he knew that we were going to go to this digital platform and stream everything. And I was like, you're crazy, dude. I was like, Blu-rays are never going out. And so he literally had like 10 people in this room just watching movies and delivering NBC, Lionsgate, all the major studios content to Netflix.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, dude, I'm renting DVDs from Netflix. I was like, what do you mean it's gonna be streaming? He's like, dude, it's gonna be the future.
That's crazy.
And so it went. I was the 11th employee, and it started. He hired us because he created 6 spots in this room, and like when all the studio heads would come in, he'd be like, oh yeah, this is where Chris sits, Dexter sits over here, and like he'd have like little stuff on their desk
It
Like,
was
oh
fake.
yeah, you know, Dexter loves like teddy bears, and he had all these stories and characters built. Then like, he would just do it himself. But then like the workload
Just to make the company look bigger.
and he kept doing so well that they just, here's more work. Here's all our TV shows, and he's just like, I can't handle this. So he was like, I'll get back on track. Then like I can get like these. I just need it for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So then it was like, yo, can you stay on for 2 months? I'm like, sure. I was like, I just need cash.
Yeah.
And then it was like, yo, can you stay on for like full time, health benefits, vacation? I was like, yeah. And it was like, I got paid first year 26 grand. That's nothing for out here.
Yeah.
And it was
But at
just
the
like,
time, you're probably like,
but it was like
yes.
I could show up in like board shorts, cut off shirt, and as long as I did 8 hours, he didn't care when I came in.
Yeah.
No clock in. It was super chill.
Yeah,
And then
that's
it went
dope.
from 11 employees to 250 like that.
Jesus.
Office in Chicago, office in India, and it was just like, I mean, he was right. Like it's all streaming now.
How
And
crazy. So did that company become extremely successful?
yeah, and I started getting like a manager role, and then I got demoted really quickly because he was just like, yo, you don't want to work here. I know you don't.
Yeah.
He's just like, how are you not getting these? He goes, I've seen your videos. He's like, how are you not getting editing jobs? I was like, I don't even know how to find them, man. Like
Yeah.
Craigslist, like what? So I was like, I'll stay here a year. And then it was like, I'll stay here 2 years. And then it's like, all of a sudden I'm there 4.5 years, and I'm just like slowly dying
Damn.
inside. Like I was like filling up water bottles with vodka, and I was just getting like nice and tipsy drunk on the job, and just like,
Just settling into
I was just like, yo,
the job you didn't love.
this is my life.
Yeah.
I was like, this is what it's going to be. And I remember him at the Christmas party. He was like, yo, my goal this year is to find a way to utilize your talents before somebody else does. And I was just like, dude, there's nobody going to find my talent. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And so all this time I was always just making my own personal like travel videos, like when I go on vacation, or like videos back at the lake, and I had these like Lake Life 1. Yeah, Lake Life 1 had just came out, and it was like it did really well. A lot of people liked it. And then like on my 30th birthday, I was just like, you know what, man, like I can't be doing this anymore. So I called him up, and I was just like, yo, I'm putting my 2 weeks in on my 30th birthday. And he's just like, yo, I'm so glad you're doing that. Like, you don't belong here, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I quit, made Lake Life 2, and that one was just like this. I road tripped my car, that Krewella, back to Indiana with my girlfriend at the time. Me and my friends cut it up into a convertible, and like we put out this video, and it was just like super dope. And like this is like the reason I quit my job was like this DJ Blau, he had found, oh man, it's like there's so many angles to this story. So I feel like we passed where you wanted to talk about.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, the
Fancy
outside-
Factory?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's cover it then real
Okay.
quick, because for the listener, it's fucking
Okay.
incredible.
Okay.
Okay, when was the time frame?
Okay.
Because I didn't even know, I didn't even remember that this happened, which is funny.
man, this is,
But, you know, things like this used to sort of happen. And,
it still does, but not like, I don't know.
yep. So from my perspective, things like this used to happen. And, you know, it was normal with a lot of people knowing where the Fantasy Factory was.
Yeah.
But I don't know, for whatever reason, I didn't remember this. I don't know whether I wasn't there that day or whatever.
No,
but I
you were
didn't-
there.
I was there? Did I meet you?
Oh, dude, I came to your Young and Reckless Diamond Supply release party.
You did?
That's where it all, the ending went down. Oh my God.
Damn it. Okay.
So I moved out to LA, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm from the Midwest.
Yep.
Where it's like, I don't know my neighbor. I can go knock on the door and I can ask for whatever. And
Yeah.
they'll just invite you right in.
Yep.
So I was like, you know, these guys are from Ohio. They have the same mindset.
Yep, my brothers.
Yep. So I was like, this is gonna be awesome. And like the thing I was so fascinated about with Rob, and why I looked up to him at the time, was it was before like social media and like brands really existed.
Yeah.
And he was the first person that I saw that was like, he wasn't just a skateboarder. He wasn't just a guy on a TV show. Wasn't a guy with a clothing company. He had all these things that came
Yeah.
to one. And it was like this first time I saw a brand done in a cool way, where like, because I never liked business, never wanted to be a businessman. My dad was a businessman. And I saw that and I was like, oh, this is actually cool.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I'm into making videos. I'm into like making these t-shirts. I always want to have a t-shirt show. And I was just like, yeah, I'm going to go out there. I'm just going to pick his brain.
Yeah.
And he's going to be like, cool. Yeah. Like, give you all this advice.
yeah.
So I get out here, and oh my, I wish I still, I'm going to have to, oh my God.
It's okay. You can
No,
tell,
it's-
like,
no, it's
you
great.
can skip some parts.
No.
But for
I'll-
the end of the story, it's really worth it.
So on the internet, this is like a Google, I think I found out where he bought this house up in Mount Olympus.
Yep.
I'm gonna sound like a stalker.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Okay. So I found out, like, they ran this article, Rob Dyrdek buys this house, blah blah blah, and I'm like, okay. So I get on Google Maps and I'm like, this is what it looks like. I find the house. I'm like, cool. I'm not gonna go just wait outside his house. So I go to his house. I write this letter, and I make these customized shirts of like Rogue Status and some Young and Reckless ones. Like where I chop them up, sew them together.
Why don't I fucking remember this? Keep going.
So I make this stack of shirts and I letter and I leave it outside his house and I leave. And the letter just says like, yo, my name is Rory. I'm from the Midwest, blah, blah, blah. I'd love to, have a meeting with you, pick your brain. I'd be glad to pay you for your time. Here's what I'm into. I didn't really know which avenue to concentrate on, whether making clothes, making videos, and then later have those kind of fall into place.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to just see what he said. And so, don't hear anything. A couple weeks goes by. I decided to go make another stack, go buy some more shirts, customize them. Same thing. I'm like, yo, my mom always said, be persistent. Here you go. Drop off these shirts, nothing. Do it again, And I'm like, maybe I should mail them. Yeah. Maybe like somebody's just take them. I mail them, nothing. And so then I'm just like, man, I need to go to, I'll just go to Fantasy Factory. So I make this sign, and it's like, the clothes I was wearing, it was just like, dude, like, obviously you're here trying to meet, like, Rob and the guys, like, so.
What do you mean you mean like DC clothes?
Oh, yeah, I mean, just like big skate shoes.
Yeah.
Like just the baggy clothes back then, and like, I looked like a miniature you guys.
Yeah,
and it was just like, so I think I won't stand directly outside. I'll stand on that, like, like the street comes out and like the corner out here.
Yeah.
The one you have to come in on.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that'll make it look like where I'm not.
Yeah.
Waiting
not like
for
that
them.
serious. Yeah.
So I had this sign that said, I'm not homeless. I'm just looking to network.
Yeah.
And so I just figured, it's a little clever way to catch their attention. Maybe they'll stop. Like, yo, what are you after?
Yeah.
So I was like doing my Twitter research, found out when you guys started filming, figured out like Rob would tweet like, yo, I'll get down here, do my like morning workouts at this time. So I was like, I'd get down there at like 7:30 in the morning. Yeah. I'd wait till like noon. You guys usually started shooting around noon or something.
Yeah.
And I recognized like the SUVs from the show. They had the different color logos. Dude, I was like doing my research while watching the show.
Yeah.
So I'd see you guys roll in and I'd be like, okay, it's noon. They're going to be, I'm just wasting my time. I'd leave. So Monday I do that. Tuesday I do that. Wednesday I do that. Thursday I do that. Friday I do that. And then people start stopping. Jeremy, was it Larner?
Yep.
He stops and he's like, yo, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just trying to network, man. And he's just like, okay. And like, so another guy stops, Tracy stops.
Yep.
And he's like, yeah, what are you after? I was like, yo, that's what I'm up to. And he's just trying to network, I just moved out here. Just give him this BS story, like half the story.
Yeah.
So then another guy stops and I tell him and he leaves. He comes back and he's like, yo, like there's this Young and Reckless Diamond Supply release party happening tonight. You should like, seems like a lot of people that that you can maybe network would be there.
Yeah.
You can go there and talk to people. I'm like, all right, dope. So I leave and I go to this party and I'm like, I'm like trying on every outfit that I own. Like I gotta look cool. Like I got this leather jacket that I bought at the Goodwill that literally looked like I took a couch and sewed it together. It was bad.
Yeah.
So I get there and they're like, hi, you're gonna have to sign this release form. We're filming an episode of Fantasy Factory. And I'm like, oh my God, like shit, Rob's gonna be here. Like, oh God, I thought like maybe you'd be there. I could pick your brain.
Yep.
So they walk in, Rob walks in and he's just like, what's up, player? And I'm just like, oh my God, this is not happening.
Did he recognize that you were the guy that had been standing outside the Fancy Factory or no?
Oh, I think I think he saw me a mile away. So I have like 2 Coronas and I'm just like staking him out. He's talking to a few girls or a couple girls talking to him. And I'm like, as soon as they break away, I'm just like in. I'm like, all right. I was like, yo. I was like, can I ask you a question? He's like, will you sound, player? And I was like, what's a guy got to do?
Snoop Dogg.
He's like, I go, what's a guy got to do to get a meeting with you? And he's like, dude, like 3 of my people stop and talk to you and you act like you aren't even there to talk to me. And I'm like, fuck, he knows exactly who I am. Shit. And I'm like, well, in my defense, I go, you have a different mindset and a way of thinking than all those guys that stopped. And I go, I didn't want to be like, yo, I'm trying to meet Rob and like have a meeting with him. I was like, maybe those guys would be like, dude, you're a fucking idiot. Get lost. And I was like, if I was going to hear no, I wanted to hear from you. And then now, like, Chanel's listening in, some other dudes listening in, like, the circle gets bigger, and like, I'm panicking, I'm sweating bullets. I'm just like, God, get me out of here. Why did I do this? And so, like, Rob's like, yeah, this guy's like dropping off t-shirts like every other week. And like, this guy's like, and he's like, yeah, he's just dropping them off. Now he's hanging outside that fantasy factory.
Oh,
And this guy's
man.
like, Rob, this guy's hustling you, bro.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's not like staying at your house asking for an autograph. He goes, he's just dropping off shirts, telling you like what he wants to do. He wants to like intern for you, all this shit.
Yeah.
And so he's like, you should give him a chance, man. And I was like, dude, here's how much money I got in the bank account to the cent. And I was like, whatever you think your time's worth, I'll be glad to pay you for how much time you'll give me.
Yeah.
He's like, I respect that. And he's like, look, I'm a busy guy. I'll have you down sometime. I just don't know when that'll be. Then that never happened. But there was this time I get contacted from producers of Fantasy Factory, and they're like, hey, we're doing this episode on superfans. And I'm like,
I remember that.
And they're like, we saw your impression on the internet. And we're like, there's no way this is too good. They're like, it has to be fake.
Yeah.
And so then they're like, we found your other video where people thought it was fake, and you just started reading their comments in like Rob's voice, and they're like, okay, it's gotta be real. So like, you should be on an episode. And I'm like, all stoked and telling everybody I'm gonna be on TV. It's so sick. They call me and they're like, yo, so like, we're gonna do this other episode. We're gonna push this to later. Might come back, might not. Never came back. Yeah. And I was just devastated. I was just like, oh, why'd I tell everybody? Because everybody's like, wait, when are you gonna be on TV?
Yeah, that's the worst.
It's so bad. So I learned my lesson. Fast forward till like this January, like 7 years later. I'm been touring with the Chainsmokers for 2 years, and Alex and Drew love like my impressions, my Owen Wilson, this, whatever, and they love the Rob one.
Yeah.
And so they were like, yo, we're gonna be on Ridiculousness. You have to come and do it.
Yeah.
Like,
you told me about
and Alex is like, I gotta see it like in front of like Rob. I was like, I'm gonna tell the producers that you can do it. Maybe they'll want you on the show. If not, you have to do it in the dressing room. I'm like, God.
And you hadn't talked to any of them since then, in that span, right?
Yeah. Right. So like, I'm like, man, are these people gonna remember me? Like, is this gonna like? Is like, I'm kind of nervous because I was like, man, now I've had success, and I've had people approach me kind of like how Rob did. And I'm like, you know, I get it. Now I get it, dude. But it's like, but some of these kids, like the ones that are clever, I'm like, yo, I was the same. So I got to put my foot where my mouth is, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And make time for him, whatever. And so Rob walks in, and I'm just like, oh God. Like, I hadn't gotten nervous in a long time. And like, he walks in, I'm just like, shit. I'm waiting to get called out. And he's like, Drew's like, what's up, Rob? He's like, what's up, Drew? What's up, Alex? What's up, Rory? And I'm like, fuck. Oh no.
It's like a
no,
movie.
this is not happening. And he's like, yeah, my producers come in there like, yo, Chainsmokers boys got this this guy that does the Rob impression. His name's Rory. And he's like, wait, Rory? Like 7 years ago, Rory? Like dropping off shirts, rogue status, YouTube videos, just like goes in. I'm like, oh my God, no. And he's like, now here you are filming from the Chainsmokers. He's like, what's going on? And I'm like, yeah, I just spent the last 2 years with that. And he's like, what else are you doing? Alex cuts him off. He's just like, yo, he's Bieber's personal videographer. And now he's got a show coming out. He's like, oh, you got a show? Like, what's the concept? So I tell him. He's like, oh, it's dope. What network? I was like, MTV. And he's like, fuck me. And I'm just like, but he was just so excited about it. And like, and then we do the episode, whatnot, and we talk. And then he was like, yo, here's my email. Hit me up if you ever have any questions. And he was like, yo, I'm super excited about it for you. And it was just.
And you and him spoke the other day, right?
Yeah, like I was going into a meeting, and I was just like, yo, man, do you have any advice? I was like, you know, I'm going to this meeting. I'm trying to get some notes across, and didn't know if you had any like idea. Like, am I wasting my time? Like, how'd I get? He was like, yo, you got a number? And like, send him an email, and like minutes later, he calls me, and he's like, I was like, hello, is this Rory? This is Robert. And I'm just like, what? Like,
yeah.
Like
it's so funny, man. Like that's what I love about the whole thing is that it all comes full circle to you having an MTV show.
Yeah.
And him calling you to give you advice.
Dude, it was
right?
so,
and that's what like you
so
were waiting
cool.
on 7 years ago.
Yeah. And it was just, I'm glad it took that long, and it worked the way that it did, just because like, I mean, I was a fan of all you guys, but I was a huge fan of just like the way that he did things, and he did his business in a different way. And I feel like he's one of the first people that like, for like these millennials and kids like of our generation, like he made like business seem cool.
Yeah.
And like made like brands like achievable now. And
Yep.
it's just like,
Yeah, 100%.
yeah, and he did it in a cool way where it would just like, and it was different, and it was like where like the Jackass guys were like super dope because they had their thing.
Yep.
But Rob had like all these business different things that came into one, and I was just like, that's freaking cool.
Yeah. I love it, man. That's what I love about I just love I love the not only embarrassment of like being the super fan, quote unquote, but then that leading all the way. I even like, I mean, what's the Krewella's manager's name that connected us a couple
Nathan.
years ago? Nathan.
Yeah.
So Nathan hit me up a couple years ago and was like, hey, my buddy Rory is working on an MTV show and wants to pick your brain.
Yeah.
And what's funny is when you came in, I didn't even remember from that.
Dude, I was so nervous coming in here. I was just like, God, is he gonna remember this? And
it's so funny. I didn't remember it, but now to see it like progress to the show being real, and to, like I said, for even to come full circle and have Rob hit you up and give you advice and whatever, is just, that's the part of this story that I absolutely love.
Dude, it was cool. It was I was gonna say something I forgot, but
so for the listener, let's get like, give me the story on leading up to that. So you finally quit the job.
So I quit the job.
4 years where you're drinking vodka every day at work, and then where do you go from there?
So
like, how does that lead to that? Was the big breakthrough the Bieber stuff?
No, so the big breakthrough was like I did this video for one of my friends. They made this like viral song for our college for the basketball team, and it was like got a couple million hits, and like it was like the theme song at the school. The university was like, "Yo, could we pay you guys 10 grand to make a song for the football team? Maybe people will get excited by the football team because we were just terrible." So they're like, "Yeah," and then my friends were like, "Yo, could you make a video for us? We'll pay you, $2 grand." And I was just like, I've never had that kind of money. Hell yeah. And so we flew to Indiana, made a video. They put it out, put it on Facebook. And my friend, his friend, managed a DJ named Blau at the time.
Okay.
And he went through my YouTube and was just like, yo, like he calls me up and he's like, yo, what you're doing for yourself is like a hobby. Like we could pay you to go on tour and like film this DJ.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that sounds cool. So I went on like tour with him for a week. And like the first night, like I'm crowd surfing with a camera and getting these crazy angles. And like he was just like, you can go anywhere on stage. I don't care if you're seen. I just want you to make cool shit. And I was just like, all right. And it was literally, and it came back to that the next day. Like it was right when Instagram introduced 15-second videos. I stayed up all night, made a little 15-second edit of the concert. I go, hey, would you want this? And he's like, yo, send me that right now. I got to post it. Yeah. He posted it. And it was like when I moved out here trying to get into acting, I was saying like how it's, sometimes it'd be 6 months before you saw anything.
Yeah.
And like he posted it and instantly 1,000 views. Yeah. A couple hundred comments. And I was just like, it was literally like I was on like a drug and I was just addicted to making content.
Yep.
Because I was like, oh my God, if I make something, he's gonna put it out instantly and I could see the response. And like I literally, he's like, yo, I'm gonna take you everywhere. Yeah. And I was just like, all right. So he's like, here's all my summer dates. And I'm like, shit, like I don't have enough vacation to like have a job and do this.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, if he's paying me this, I was like, man, I can work. I think it was like, I did the math. I was like, if instead of a month at that one job, I could make in like 6 days the same amount of money.
Yep.
And I was like, I have all this other free time. Like I can, start making my own videos. I can get into acting again and like concentrate on my own, whatever I'm trying to get into. So those videos got the attention of Martin Garix, and Martin Garix was like, yo, like Blau's like this DJ that's not as big as me, but like his content like looks insane. Like who's this guy? So ironically, their managers live together. And so I go into a meeting with him, start doing Martin Garix like US tour stuff.
Were you doing both? You just added that on, or did you quit from those guys?
No, I would just do both. Sometimes they'd be at the same concert. I'd shoot both concerts.
And was that the first time you had really like traveled and stuff like that and been a part of like, obviously been a part of like weird DJ tour life, right?
Well, so this is where it's weird. So like at the same time the Blau thing took off, I had hit up Krewella's video guy and I was just like, yo, man, like I think what you do is cool. Like I'd never seen a job like that. And I was like, how do you even get into like something like this?
Yeah.
And he calls me and he's just like, yo, like I watched some of your videos. They're like really cool. You have a cool like style and like the glide cam. And he's like, yo, if I ever need like a second angle, I'll hit you up. So he's in LA and he's doing this like Ask Men like Krewella Dare video. Yeah. And he asked me to shoot like a second angle. So I'd met Nathan and one of their managers and they all just seemed cool. I was a huge Krewella fan. And Nathan ran into me at a party one night and just kept buying me like Jameson shots. Yeah. And he was just like, found out that I cliff jumped. The next day I took him cliff jumping, and he was just like, we just became friends. And then he hit me up one day and was just like, yo, we're shooting this like Krewella music video. Would you want to help shoot on it? I'm like, oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, yo, we don't have any money. I was like, I don't care. I just want to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I helped shoot that. And that came out the day that like Blau's manager hit me up, and like it wasn't connected, but
Yep.
it like, so it's like people were always like, oh, where'd you get your start? So it was kind of both things happened at the same time.
Yep. Got it.
So I started touring with Blau and then Martin Garix, and I'd still do Krewella stuff. Like they started having me go on tour with them. And then I was up in Santa Barbara with Blau, and I got an email from this guy named Nick Furlong. And the email was like, yo, what's up? My name is Nicholas Furlong. Go by Raz. I wrote this song with Avicii.
You know that me and Raz had a production duo called the Smash Brothers for like 2 years?
Wait, you know Raz?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
We were like best buds for like.
Really?
Yeah.
That's tight.
I mean, he's still my guy, but like we literally had, when I first started doing music production, me and Raz were production partners.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Small world.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he hits me up, sends me this email, and he's like, yo, I got the new Avicii song, The Nights. I here's the song. Tell me what you think. I'm big into like music videos that tell a story. I think your videos would be perfect for this song. So I listen to the song, and I'm like, first of all, I'm like, who's fucking with me? There's no way Avicii, like, I was a huge Avicii fan.
Yep.
And I'd use Avicii in my videos, like his music. So I listened to the song, I'm like, well, this kind of sounds like Avicii. And I was like, I'd definitely use this song in my video. And I read back, I'm like, dude, whatever you want, like, I was like, how'd you find me? Like, who are you?
Yeah.
And what? And I'm like Googling this guy. I'm like trying to find out, is this real? Is somebody fucking with me? So I'm like, yo, like whatever you want, I'm down. I can help out. Whatever you need from me, I'm your dude.
Yep.
I don't hear anything. And I'm like, told you, somebody fucking with me.
Here we go.
So it's like a month later, he hits me back. He's like, yo, I just got back from Sweden with Tim. We were finishing the track. He's like, so basically, if we can come up with a concept, like I can get it in front of his team and like they'll check it out. And they're like, so do you have anything? And I was like, no, man. I was like, I can't make any crazy videos. Like all my friends either have jobs and like my nieces and nephews that are usually in my videos that are fun. I was like, they're in school. I was like, I can't make anything crazy like this quick.
Yeah.
And so he was like, here, I'll send you how I sold them on the idea. So he took like my Lake Life 2 video, like just part of the video, and just literally put the track over top of it.
Uh-huh.
And he sent it to me, and I started watching it. And like, even though it wasn't like cut to the music or whatever, I just saw like, I was like, whoa, there's like, this is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And I was like, this doesn't even match what's going on.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I got like hard drives of unused footage. And number one?
1 hour.
1 hour? Okay.
You got to get a little sneakier at that because it throws off the person.
No,
every
it's all
time.
good. So we're at the 1 hour mark.
Yeah.
So I was like, I got all these all this unused footage, and I got like all these like banger clips and like my best videos. Maybe I could sprinkle a little bit of that. So I make this video of all my old clips, and I started off with like this advice my dad gave me, and it was like me talking into the camera.
Yeah.
I sent it to them, and they were like, yo, this is dope. Like, how do we make this more Avicii's brand?
Yeah.
And they're like, should we use like live footage? And then people are like, no, that'd take away from this guy's video. Like, this video is very unique. So I was like, yo, give me a week. I got an idea. So I shoot like this intro where I'm spray painting like the intro titles that way you don't have to see me just talk to the camera.
Yeah.
And then I do a couple of things where like I do some stunts in like an Avicii shirt. I'm singing some of the lyrics, send it back to them. And they're like, yo, can you send it with this format? And can we pay you this amount of money? And I'm just like, what? This is the easiest job I've ever had.
Yeah.
And they're like, yo, and people are like, yo, like Krewella, they're like, yo, you're going to be in the Avicii video? I'm like, no, like, I don't know. I'm not like,
I learned this lesson
I've
once.
learned this lesson with the Fantasy Factory episode. I was like, I don't know if it's coming out.
Yeah.
And so it comes out like December 16th or something like that, like a couple years ago. And it got like 1 million views in a week. And that was just so different for me. I'd never experienced that kind of views that quickly or ever at all. And it hit 10 million views, and my dad calls me and like he was just like, you have a video with 10 million views. And I was just like, whoa, you're right. And like it didn't seem weird because I would have made the video anyways. Like it didn't seem like I was doing anything different than I normally do. And that the day that came out, like like my Instagram started like taking off, and like people were just like, I started having like fans from around the world. They're like, oh my God, like your video changed my life. And I was like, whoa, like now I was like, this is my thing. I was
Yeah.
like, my thing is definitely videos, and it's definitely having some sort of inspirational message attached to it.
Yeah. Was that the moment when it hit you of like, this is it?
Yeah, because I was touring with Blau and we were in Mexico, and there's a point where I literally just put down my camera and I'm like, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
Like, even though I was touring, I was getting paid, and I loved it, I just didn't feel that there was this like,
Any substance.
yeah.
How old are you at this point?
I was 30 at this point.
Damn, that's dope.
Yeah.
I like the fact, what I like that is like you kind of went through all these different journeys and all these different things to figure out your thing, and you didn't find it until 30, which some
Yeah.
people think like, I got to find it at 18 or else I'm screwed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
And let me ask you this. At 30, when you figured all this shit out, are you still not really considering yourself a videographer as much as a content guy? Like, or have you gotten more serious at that point about all the settings and the lighting and the...
Well, that was the thing. People would like look at my settings and they'd be like, yo, why is your shutter speed that fast? I'm like, I don't know. This is why I like it like this.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know the technical side of
Yeah,
it. I
like
just did
that.
my thing, and I was just like, my style was different. I think because I just didn't listen to the traditional rules of like, oh, this needs to be this with the camera and this needs to be that. I was just like, I found out what worked for me, and people were paying me for it, and I was like, I guess I'm doing something right.
Yeah. I just think where most people go wrong, especially in video and photography, is they become so good at the settings because in the lighting, because they think that that's how you get good, right? You can study that, but like it's capturing the moments
Yeah.
that really makes great photography or great video, and you can't teach that. And I think a lot of photographers get lost in like the lighting being perfect and everything being perfect,
Yeah.
and you're not creating any good content.
100%. And I think it was like, I had like such a love for music, but I was never like good enough to be like in a band, whatever.
Yeah.
So like this was like my opportunity to kind of like be involved in music.
Yep.
And like my editing style was so like song driven, like cutting to the beat, cutting to like certain things, and
Yep.
it was like trying to match what they were talking about, like what the sounds. I try to replicate the sounds with like, I would take my lens off the camera and I would like kind of like open it,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
would allow light to come in. It would give this crazy look that would go with like these dubstep drops and whatnot. And I really was just driven by that. And then the day the video came out, Martin's manager, Michael George, he works at Scooter Braun Projects.
Yep.
And he's like, yo, would you ever be interested in shooting Bieber? They're looking for a new video guy. I'm like, yo, that'd be tight. I go,
Yeah.
I actually just looked at his Instagram and I was like, yo, I want to spend a day with this kid. I was like,
Yeah.
I'd change his life.
Yeah.
Because I just saw that he was like how I was when I was like 19.
Yeah.
And he was just like a 19, 20, and it was just kind of like, it wasn't that he was doing anything wrong. He was just figuring himself out.
Yeah.
And
What
unfortunately-
was that when Bieber was getting in all the trouble?
Yeah.
That throwing the eggs and all that shit?
Mhm.
Got it.
And I was just like, I go, man, he's just, unfortunately, he has to find himself with the whole world watching.
Of
I was like,
course.
I did the same shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, I saw a little town, do that to me.
Yeah.
And there's just something about him that I think, because I liked his music when he first came on the scene. I saw that he had talent, and then I saw him go through this like weird phase, and I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
And I didn't buy into the people saying that he was this terrible kid. I'm like, dude, if you're telling me that you've never done something stupid or something like while you're trying to figure yourself out, then whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, there's something. So I wanted to work with him. I met with his team. They loved like the Avicii video just came out and it was crushing. So
Mhm.
they were like, all right, this guy's cool. And so they're like, we gotta have you meet Bieber. And
So what's that like? And then run me through that process, just because a lot of these, like a lot of listeners and a lot of video people, obviously a job like that would be like a dream job. But like, first, when you sit down with the team, you're going through all your videos and showing all the stuff that you've done, and are you do you have to pitch like, here's what I would do, or are they like, this is what we want you to do, or how did that go down?
The meeting, it was like two of them, and they were just like, Michael spoke really highly of you. And like, I think what got me in the door and like them really interested was the fact that I was a lot older and I was really good friends with everybody I shot with.
Yep.
Like, and I tried to work with only people I listened to and people I considered myself friends with, because
Yep.
then it never felt like a job.
Yep.
And so they saw that I was really good friends with Martin Garix, and they repped him, and they were like, okay, like when Martin comes to LA, he calls Rory and they go hiking.
Yeah.
So like,
And him and Bieber are friends, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And so he had, they just thought that was good. And like, where it's like, Bieber doesn't like cameras, and so they're like, okay, like maybe this guy I could see them being friends.
Yep.
Like, it looks like he's into a lot of stuff that Justin's into.
Got it.
And so they're like, you know, Justin wants to turn his image around, and like they just saw that like I was older and like had kind of been through all that crap, that I wasn't really gonna be into like causing mischief.
Yep.
And like I just had a head on my shoulders at that point.
Yeah.
And so they're like, yeah, we just gotta have you meet him. And so like it literally be like, hey, can you be at the studio at this time? And then it would be like, oh, well, he's not going. Like, can you be at this time? Hey, can you meet on Wednesday? And then can you meet on Tuesday? And it was just like, this ain't ever gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I that time, I'd met the Chainsmokers on this bus tour, and they seemed like cool dudes. I'd met them in passing before, but like I didn't really like their music.
Yep.
It wasn't my vibe. And so I was filming on this tour, and like the first night they ended with this song called Waterbed, and I'm like, yo, what's that song? And they're like, oh, it's this new song we got coming out. I'm like, that's you guys? I was like, that's tight. They're like, yeah, man. And Alex is like, yo, you should just stay on our bus all week and like play some new music and just hang out. And I was like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah.
So they play me all this new music, and they play me like Roses, and I'm just like, what? This is you guys? I go, this is fucking sick.
Yeah.
And so like we just get drunk every night. We're like, we just became like 3 best friends like that.
Yep.
And it was like I'd known them for years. And I feel bad about this part of the story. It's just like they had a video guy, and he was super cool, and he was just like, yo, any of my stuff you want to use, you can use. I was like, man, finally, somebody that just doesn't get territorial. Like when you come in, he's like, nah, man, fuck all that. And I was just like, I love this guy.
Yeah.
And I was like making edits for the tour, and then like I would just be like, yo, do you guys want an edit? Like I'm more getting paid. And I was like, and they're like, sure. And they put it out, and at the end of the tour, like Drew calls me, he's just like, yo, man, like I just feel like you're like the missing link with us, and like your work ethic, you're just like, they're like, yo, would you want to be our guy? And I'm like, fuck, man, I just told this guy like I was not like trying to swoop in. And I was like, yo, I got to tell you, I was like, Bieber's team, like they're talking to me about being his personal videographer, and I was like, I really want to do that because because like that's when like with the Avicii thing, I saw the inspirational, and I was like, man, Bieber could tell this cool story, and I was like, I want to visually do that. And I was like, I think that'd be like that's my next step in my career that I want to do. And they're like, yeah, for sure. So I go to Asia with them for a week, film Rose's video, and put it out, and like I just start touring with them nonstop, and like the content just gets better and better, and they were just always letting me do my thing. They never like give me notes, and it was awesome. And then I happened to be at Ultra when Bieber came out with Skrillex during his set, and I saw the girl who I was in a meeting with, and she just kind of like looked at me, and it wasn't like that kind of like, yo, get this.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like one of those things where it's just kind of like
Telepathic.
I knew.
Yep.
Yeah, I could read her mind, she could read mine. And everybody had the same angle of Bieber and like Skrillex and Diplo just like dancing right here.
Yep.
But I'd been at the festival a few days, and I knew like there was like these curtains you climb under and get like the crowd.
Yeah.
And so Bieber went around and did his dance, and I was the only person with both angles. And I went straight home that night, cut like a little Instagram video, sent it to Michael George. Michael George sends it to Allison. Allison sends it to Bieber. It's on Bieber's Instagram in 10 minutes. Yeah. And I was just like,
and it has 50 million views.
Yeah, it was just the views were just racking up, and I'm just like,
yeah.
Oh my! And like Michael sends me a screenshot from Allison. I'm getting goosebumps about this.
Yeah.
He's like, she's like, holy shit! She just knew it was my footage. She goes, "This is Rory's. Can we post it?" And he's like, "Yeah, go for it." He says, "Go for it." And then like they call me, and they're like, "Yo, all right, so Justin wants you to go to film him at Wango Tango here in LA." I was like, "All right, dope," because I guess he saw like when he posted the video, he's like, "Yo, who made that video? I want him to do my stuff." And they're like, the guy we've been trying to have you meet.
For the
he's
last
like, "All right,
year.
cool."
Yeah.
So I go do Wango Tango, and I hit I'm like, "Yo, Allison," I was like, do you guys have any restrictions? She's like, "No, we love your work. Just do your thing." And I was like, I'm not even gonna ask what that means.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just gonna do my thing. So at Wango Tango, they have a performer performing, and on the other side they get set up, and then the stage rotates. So Bieber has this like 3-2-1 platform pyramid box, and I'm like, all right, I'll just hop up here. I'm like right next to this dancer. I'm like, hey, just let you know I'm right here with the camera. And they're like, cool. And like all of a sudden the stage starts spinning. I'm like, oh boy. I'm like, okay. I'm like, where's Bieber at? And all of a sudden he just lifts up out of the box next to me, and I'm just like, oh. I'm like, oh my God, this. Because with the DJs, they didn't give a shit if you're on the stage. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I'm in the mix right now.
Yeah.
So now he's out there doing his choreography, dancing, and I'm just behind the dancers with the glide cam, just getting these swooping shots. Yeah. And all of a sudden, it was like the sea parted. The dancers split, and Bieber just goes down the catwalk. And there's, you can see on the footage, right? I start to follow, and then I hesitate, and I'm just like, fuck it. And I go out on the catwalk with him filming, and I'm like, oh my God, people are probably just like, what the fuck is this kid doing? And like, I filmed 2 songs like that, and I run to the side of the stage, switch lenses, and the security's like, yo, like, what are you doing? Like, they didn't want you out on the stage like that. And I'm like, oh shit, I just blew this. So now I go in the crowd, shoot the rest of the show, and like pack up my gear, and I'm walking back. I'm like, oh man, like I don't really know anybody in this camp. Like, are they gonna be pissed?
Yeah.
And so I get in there, and they're like talking about this thing, and somebody's like, oh, I'm sure Rory got it on video. And I'm like, yo, and before I could say anything, like Allison was just like, yo, like I told him to do his thing, like that was my fault if you guys are pissed. And I was like, sorry about that. And Bieber's like, no, man, it's all good. It's cool. It's cool. And I was just like, sweet.
Yeah.
So I go home, make a video, send it in. And I guess Scooter was like pissed because like he was like, what is he doing on stage? Like Bieber hasn't performed in years. And now you got this like camera guy like in the spotlight with them.
Yep.
Like, so all TMZ's footage, like when they're covering Bieber, it's me just standing there with the camera.
Yeah.
And like, I'm like, oh, I look like a fucking jackass. So I sent him this recap, and it literally is like, maybe you should do that at all the concerts. And so then
That's
Bieber was like,
hilarious.
yo, this is our guy. Like, he just went out on the stage like that, didn't give a shit. Like, I want to take him to Hong Kong. So I go to Hong Kong with them, and then they send me a retainer deal, and I go on retainer with him and then try to do Chainsmokers whenever I could. And they were kind of salty at me at first because, like, I was going to do this bus tour with them for a month. And I was like,
Chainsmokers.
yeah. And I was like, yeah, I can't do this tour. And they're just like, dude, like, you already told us you're doing it.
I mean, it's the Biebs.
I was like, dude,
Come
I'm
on.
never gonna. I was like,
When the Biebs calls.
and I was like, yo, like, I go, my goal right now is like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I want to like eventually have a show of my own.
Yeah.
And they were like, not cool with it. I was like, dude, like, I'm not fucking you guys over. Like, I'm still gonna have your best interests. I'm still. And then that's like what Bieber came to my parents' lake house in Indiana, and then I turned him on to like
For vacay?
Yeah, he saw my lake videos and was just like, where is this? Let's go. And I was like, yo, I'm going there this weekend for Labor Day. And he, like at 6 a.m., we'd stayed up all night playing video games in New York. And I'm like, dude, I have to go right now. I was like, otherwise I'm going to miss this flight. And he's like, oh, I'll just have Corey get you another flight. And I'm like, no, like, dude, I only get like a few days at home. And I was like, home is very important to me. And I was like, I don't get to see my family that much. And I was like, I only get like 4 days with them now. And I was like, I've already changed my flight from last night to this morning. I was like, I got to go. And he just goes, all right, I'm going to go pack, call Corey, tell him to put me on your flight. I'm coming with you. I'm like, all right. And so like my parents don't even know I'm coming.
Yeah.
So I show up at the lake house and I'm like, yo, I got Justin and the security coming. And they're just like, wait, what? So my friends, they all like pile in the boat, they come pick up me and Bieber. And he's just like, yo, your friends are dope, man. Like they don't really give a shit who I am.
Yeah.
And like his song came on and he's like, yo, do you like this song? And my buddy's like, I wouldn't play it if I didn't like it. And he's just like, dude, these are real people. I love this. And like they just like treated him normal. And so then he's like, oh, what do you do? To my buddy, and my buddy's like, oh, I own a bar in town. He's like, yeah, we should go get a drink tonight. He's like, whatever you want, man.
Yes, please.
So we show up to the bar and there's like 20 people in there, and like we're walking in and people are like, that Justin Bieber? And they're like, well, that's Rory. I know Rory films for him. And then all of a sudden, like, we're playing this like punching bag game.
Yeah.
And people are filming, and then all of a sudden it's at max capacity, a line around the block.
Yeah.
Everybody's just shut, like it's like almost like a riot's about to happen.
Yeah.
And like this band stops and he goes up to the drummer. He's like, couple of your drums? And the guy's like, yeah, of course. So he's playing drums now, like Vanity Fair, TMZ, everybody's running. Like, Bieber's at a dive bar in Indiana.
Yeah.
Like, what is he doing here?
Yeah.
So
How fucking crazy.
Yeah, so I just so on that trip I turned Bieber on to Chainsmokers Roses. And then he made this video rapping over it where he stole me from them, and he's like, send it to him, see what they say. And they're like, can we post this? And they're like, yeah. So they post it, and then he shouts him out on the radio, then the song transitions into radio. And then I was like, he's like, yo, what are you doing tonight? I was like, oh, I'm going to this Chainsmokers show. He's like, I'm gonna come with you. He's like, let's go. And so like I show up with Bieber, and they're like, I was like, dude, I told you, I never still have your back.
Yeah.
And so he performs with them, and they were just like, yeah, it was cool. And
How
then
nuts.
then we then I did Bieber for like a year on retainer, and then it was just kind of project to project now.
Let me ask you this. When you do a deal like that, like, is it, obviously you're on retainer, and then is it like you're on call whenever?
Dude, it was literally like, it was right when he's putting out Purpose, and it was literally every day I would go. He was staying at the Montage. He didn't even have a house here.
Yep.
And I would just go there every single day at like 11:30. We'd hop in. We'd go do Ryan Seacrest. We'd go do some other TV show. We'd go do Ellen for a week. I was just following him around like every single day, and it was crazy.
But if it was like, I need you all night, we're flying to blah blah blah, you have to go.
Yeah, I would just hop on. It was awesome. I'd never like traveled like that. We were flying private. We'd land at New York, and like there'd be 100 kids outside the airport. And I'm like, how do you even know that we're flying in here?
Yeah.
Then we get to the hotel, and now there's 200 kids out there, and I'm like, how do you even know we're staying here?
Yeah, yeah.
And then it's like we go skateboard at like midnight, and kids would be chasing us through New York, and I'm like, this is insane.
Yeah.
It was like the
It's
energy
such another
was just,
level of like just
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then it was just like, then like anything I put out, like kids were just supporting it, and it was just so cool to like be able to start making content where people like watched it and related to it, and like
Yeah.
yeah. It
And
just
you
was
did that video, right? Didn't you do what music video did you do that was really big? for him?
I'll show you. We shot in
Was it?
Iceland.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With all the crazy scenery shots and
dude,
shit.
that was the craziest month of my life. So we're in New York. We go to my parents' house. We fly back to LA. Then we're in the studio recording a song. And he's like, let's go to Vegas tonight. He's like, Rory, you're coming to Vegas. Let's go. So we go to Vegas. We land. We fly to Berlin, do London, do all these promo things in Europe. And then he's like, I want to finish the album in Greece. Do you think we can get that house in Greece? And I'm just like, what? This is insane. Like my head's about to explode. I'm just like, I'm just along for the ride. I get to eat the best meals. I get to fly private. This is so cool.
Yeah.
And so then like we go to Greece, and we bonded over this guy named Chris Burkhart, this photographer. And all week Bieber would be like, Roy, I think you're like my third favorite Instagrammer. I'm like, yeah? And he's like, yeah, behind myself and Chris Burkhart, of course. I'm like, all right, cool. So then I take this one photo, and like Bieber, like sometimes he doesn't even caption. He doesn't tag people.
Yeah.
And I take this photo. I'm like, yo, check out this photo. He's like, this is the best photo you've ever taken of me. He's like, send that to me. He goes, I want to tag you. And I'm just like, hell yes. This is going to be so sick.
Yeah.
I'm going to get like 10,000 followers like that. So he posts it, and he's like, you see the caption? You see the caption? And it's like, Rory Kramer channeling his inner Chris Burkhart. And I'm like, oh, great. So Chris starts following me, and I'm like, oh, joke's on you. He's following me.
Yeah.
And so he's like, and I asked him this question on the jet, and I was just like, yo, where's some place you've never been? I go, you've been everywhere. Where's some place you've never been, but you want to go? And he's like, dude, Iceland. I was like, dude, I have screenshots and a folder in my phone of everything I see on Instagram of Iceland. I was like, I want to go there one day.
Yeah.
Then he's like, yo, I want to surprise you, like, but I can't keep a secret. We're going to like cut this trip short. We're going to go to Iceland for 2 days. I'm like, what? And I was like, yo, I'm going to hit up Chris. Maybe like he follows me now. Maybe like if I send him a message, he'll get a notification. Maybe he can tell some spots. He's like, yeah, great idea. So Chris hits right back. He's like, yo, what's your email? I'll send you all these spots. And then Bieber's walking in to record like the last song on the album. And he walks in and he stops. He's like, yo, tell him if he wants to come, I'll pay for his ticket. So I'm like, yo, Justin Bieber wants to know if you want to come to Iceland with us and play tour guide. He buys a ticket, flies there, meets us there. And we run around for a day and a half. And we weren't even trying to shoot a music video. We were just like people on like tourists just seeing like different waterfalls and whatnot.
Yeah.
And we went to this glacier lake, and Chris was like, oh, I've been here 100 times. You guys have to get in. So we all knew we were going to get in. And I just had all this footage, and I was just like, man, this stuff is insane. I was like, it's going to make some sort of crazy visuals. And when I was flying home from Iceland, and I'm like, what can I make with this? I was like, Where Are You Now has already been out for a while. And Bieber had actually taken my computer and downloaded the demo of the I'll Show You onto it. Or he tried to download a bunch of stuff, and that was the only one that completed. And I was like, what's this? I put it in my timeline. I put the first clip on there. I press play, and I'm just like,
yeah.
I was like, I bet I could sell them on a lyric video for sure.
Yeah.
So Bieber comes back. He's like, yo, what are you working on? I was like, I think I might have like something cool here. And he plays the first 15 seconds, and he just goes, yo, this is the music video. I'm like, whatever you want. So I stay up all night, finish it. We go to this Calvin Klein shoot, and I walk in, and he's like, Scooter, Roy and I got the video for I'll Show You. And he's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, we filmed it in Iceland. It's so sick. He's like, Roy, do you have like that clip? And I was like, yeah, I finished the video. And he's like, you finished it? Like I stayed up all night, finished it, and they watched it, and they were just like,
that's amazing.
And I was just like, man, this is so cool.
Yeah, and there it was.
Yeah.
And I remember that video too, like, because I just remember how like different it was, and obviously like the visuals were so insane. It was like, damn, this is really something different, you know?
Yeah, thanks, man. It was cool.
Yeah.
It was
really dope. So how does all of that craziness lead to getting your own show?
So remember the show The Buried Life on MTV?
Yep.
So those guys, the day the Avicii video came out, Michael George was like, you should meet these guys. They have a production company. They just seemed like you guys would fit together.
Yeah.
So I meet them a couple years ago, and they were like, yo, you should film this video with us. We're going to do the ultimate vacation. We're going to go to Egypt. We're going to go to Milan. We're going to go here, here, here. And I'm just like, I'm there. I don't care what you're paying me. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And I make the mistake of telling my mom. Now she's like, so when are you going to Egypt? When are you going here? I'm like, Mom, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? You said you're going. And I was like, yeah, but I don't know when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But you said it's going to happen. Is it still going to happen?
Yep.
And I was like,
Classic mom.
it's like, great. I don't know, Mom. So
Mhm.
now like, so that doesn't happen. And I get a text from Dave Lingwood one day, and he just goes, hey, are you tied to any TV networks? I'm like, no, why? He goes, would you ever want a show based around you? And I go, dude, that's why I started making videos
Yeah.
like when I was 15. And he goes, come in. We're like we should like talk, see if we can come up with an idea. And he's like, yeah, like we've had like some shows with MTV, and like we can get in the door and pitch them ideas, and like they're always down to listen. So I told this story of when I was on tour with the Chainsmokers in Malaysia, where we played this club show, and it was my first time in that country. I figured I'd never be there again. And I get drunk, stay up all night editing a recap. I'm like tipsy in the morning, and I'm having this Twitter conversation with a kid, and he's like, yo, man, like I'm a huge fan. Like, I want to meet you. I'm like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yo, you should check out the Bat Caves while you're here. I'm like, the Bat Caves? What are the Bat Caves?
Yeah.
He's like, yo, here's a link. Here's Steve Aoki went there. He did a little thing on it. And I was like, wow, this looks pretty cool. I was like, whoa. I was like, man. And there's like, you fly around the world, and with these DJs, usually you go airport, hotel, club, hotel, airport.
Yeah.
You don't really get to see anything except
Yeah.
for the car ride.
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah, my life's great, but it's not what you think it is.
Mhm.
You don't get, I'm not there for like 2 weeks seeing everything.
Yeah.
So I knew our pickup time was at like 10 in the morning, and this is like 6 a.m. And I'm just like, he's like, yo, you got to go. I was like, yo, if you pick me up, I'll go.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, I'll be there in 20. And I'm just like, you know, I'm still a little tipsy. So I'm like, this is a good idea.
Yeah.
So I walk out, and I see like my Wi-Fi just turn off. And I'm just like, all right, you're about to get into a car with a stranger in
Yep.
another country.
And we will never see you again.
I literally was just like, this is it.
Yep.
This is it. And I'm like documenting on my GoPro. I'm like, I could die.
Yep.
My mom's going to kill me.
Uh-huh.
So I get in the car, and it's him and his girlfriend. And his girlfriend doesn't speak one word of English. He speaks broken English. He's just like, Krewella? And like, he has a photo with Krewella. Justin Bieber? And I'm just like, yep. Like, he has
that's
photos with all
me.
these people. I'm like, yeah, like I work with these people. And so I'm like, Rory, what are you doing?
Uh-huh.
We go there, and it's just, it was awesome. They have these monkeys on the stairs, and I'm feeding them, and I'm like getting all these cool photos. And I get back, and I post a couple of photos, and Alex and Drew wake up, and they're like, where the fuck did you go? Where are these monkeys? And I was like, yo, I just went out with this stranger. They're like, what?
Yeah.
So I told this story to like Dave, and they were like, yo, that's dope.
Yeah.
So we came up with this idea, like, what if you, what if like whatever artist you're filming and wherever you're at the next day, what if you go out and experience like that culture, or like do some sort of activity
Yep.
in that city?
Yep.
So we pitched it to MTV, and they were like, we love it. Here's money to go film a pilot. So we filmed a pilot, and I don't even know how much I'm like allowed to even talk about it. I don't
Uh-huh.
really give a shit. Like, so we do this pilot with Krewella. They were like, or we were trying to figure out who to do the pilot with. Bieber wanted to do the pilot, and a bunch of people were interested in the pilot, but it was like the schedule wasn't working out. And then it came down to Krewella could do it, and we were gonna do it in Lake Tahoe. And they were just like, you met them, right?
Yeah.
Jahan, Yasmin.
Mhm.
Just like, they're two of my best friends. Like, they're always like, they always support my work. They are always just like, anytime you can tour, like if you want to go to a date, you can go.
Yeah.
And like, they always want me to help out on stuff. And so like, they really were just like, we're down to do your pilot, and we're down for whatever. And
Yep.
like, so like, they were the perfect ones to do it with, just because like, if I needed 20 hours, they're like,
Yeah.
you got 20
Yeah.
hours. It wasn't like, hey, here's 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, these are the ones to do it with. Had awesome, made this pilot. We go cut it, and it was like, we didn't even know what the hell we were doing. We just
Yeah.
had this idea, and it was just like,
And
what
you
crazy
just made the
idea?
pilot yourself, right? Like with
Yeah,
your
like-
team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I called up one of my buddies, Chris Yoder, who filmed like in the scene, and
Yeah.
I figured like, if I'm gonna be on camera, I want somebody that has like a similar style to me.
Yeah.
So like, if people are watching it, still feels like one of my videos.
Yep.
So we go to Lake Tahoe and like we got like this audio guy and like none of us, we know what we're doing, but we don't know what we're doing. And it was so much fun. And it was just like, we get in there and I'm like, yo, I don't want to say this because like, I don't want to give what happens away on the thing, but like, I literally was just like, can I get this? And they're like, yeah, we'll go get it. And it was like the first time in my life where I saw like, I've always been doing these pranks or always making these videos. And it was always like, okay, I'm a one-man show. I have to film it. I have to pull off the prank. I don't know if it's going to happen, blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
How do I make this idea happen? Now it was just kind of like, I want this and this. And they're like, cool. And they go do it. And I'm like, this is so fucking cool.
It's so cool.
And so we did the pilot and they were just like, man, it was so much fun. It was like a day I never wanted to end. And we get the pilot and we send it to MTV. They have like 2 notes and then they test it at a couple groups and like, obviously you sign NDAs that you can't talk about it. I get all these direct messages from kids like, yo, you're getting a TV show. I just saw your pilot. Not supposed to be talking about it, but like, I'm like, yo.
Oh, from people that were at the.
Yeah, at the screening.
Yeah.
And so it did really well. MTV was like, yo, we want to buy 8 episodes. And so then it was like, all right, well, I got to start calling in the favors. I was like, yo, I need you on my show. Yeah. So we just finished shooting 8 episodes, the 8th episode, like a couple weeks ago.
Was that with Khalid?
Yeah, with Khalid, yeah. That guy his story is crazy.
Is it?
Yeah. Like he's just this 19-year-old kid. He didn't have a lot of friends in high school, was picked on and stuff. And it's just like, he's one of those people you hear that and it's like, you want them to succeed. You want them to win.
And he's about to be a superstar.
Dude, it's crazy. And I'm just so excited that I get to be part of like telling that little bit of his story.
Yeah.
Before like.
So is that what you do? I don't know if you tell me if you can't tell me, but like, is the format sort of like film a show, interview them a little bit, and then go do an activity?
Yeah. So the idea is like it documents what I do for a living. So I go cover their concert, and then the next day, like we go do, let's say cliff jumping. Let's say we're in LA. We go cliff jumping, and then we like go surf at the beach. For an example, we'll have like 2 activities, and then in between, like I'll rent like a car or some sort of transportation that fits with that city. Yeah. So like for LA, I would have like a Volkswagen bus and we'll be driving around in that. Yeah. And you got, you have the conversations and you get to catch up on life. So like, it's not like where you waste time. Like, let's sit down and have an interview here. Yeah. So it's like, okay, we have time to kill 30 minutes here. We'll just talk life as we're driving.
Yeah, that's great.
And it's cool. And it's, you get to see a side of them that's different.
And like with someone like him, did you know him already, or was
I knew nothing about him except
that's dope.
He was just coming out of nowhere. Like we were trying to find this last guy to shoot the last episode. We'll wrap the season with. I'm not saying it's gonna be the last episode, but he and I was just like, I would say his name and people were like, dude, I love him. And I was just like, oh my God, there's something about him. Yeah. I'm looking at Spotify and I'm seeing the numbers and I'm seeing like, and then I posted something with him. And Shawn Mendes texts me, Alex from Chainsmokers texts me, they're like, yo, what are you doing with Khalid? And I'm like, I'm doing an episode with him. And they're like, yo, hell yeah. And then like Alex is like, yo, we're trying to do a song with him right now. And I'm like,
it's just the perfect timing
this guy's going to blow the fuck up.
Yeah. It was the perfect timing too, because he just like exploded in that, like in the last 2 months. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. And then when you did when you were filming the pilot, did you have any like crazy experienced anything helping you with sort of the structure of the show, or did you just kind of do what felt right?
Like what do you mean?
I guess what I mean is like the way that it sounds, which I like, is like, this is my idea. This is what we do. We film the show and then we go do this crazy adventure. Let's just go for it. Let's just shoot a pilot. We have the money. Let's shoot a pilot. Let's figure it out. Or was there like crazy meetings about how to structure the storyline and the blah, blah, blah? Or was it really mainly just let's go for it and see what we get?
Mainly it was just like, we watched my YouTube videos and we're trying to like, how do we make a bigger version of that? Yeah. And how do we combine your tour videos that you're doing that are not only interesting and shows cool footage, but you're also like really good friends with a lot of these artists you shoot with. Yeah. And like you're in the videos, you're fucking with them, like fucking around with them, doing pranks and whatnot. Yep. So it'd be like, all right, cool. Let's do Krewella. We go into a meeting and it's just like, here's a list of possible activities. Like, okay, we're going to be like out on Lake Tahoe. We're going to be on a boat. Here's some things that we can do behind the boat. Yep. That'd be fun. Let's try to knock all those out, film those. here's obviously we got to have some conversation, get to know them. Here's some interesting facts about them,
Yeah.
and like I might call them and it's like, also, what do you guys want to talk about? Like,
Yeah.
what's something you're trying to get across? And so, and a lot of it is like trying to like figure out how'd they break through, and like how did they like push past to become who they are, or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of that, and like trying to relate it to these kids that are watching, and yeah, but like we would just be out there, and it's like we'd just come up with a list of funny things to do, and then like we'd have a list of like, oh, this would be a great callback to like we would be like, hey, I don't even think this made it, but it was like this idea. Like I had this clip where I spray painted my arm black one time, and I was like, how do I fit this in the episode? And I was like, oh, like I go, just tell them to ask if I want any suntan lotion. And I'm like, hey, Rory, you want any suntan lotion? I'm like, nah, I spray tan. And then it cuts to this like, random clip. So I wanted to have these like random moments where it made no sense.
Yep.
And then they would come back and.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's dope. What do you have a release date?
No, like it was supposed to be out first week of June, then it got pushed, and then it's like, and we changed the show title. Then
What's it called? Can you say?
I can't.
Okay, don't do it. Don't take the risk.
I don't know. I don't give a shit.
Don't risk it.
So, but no, I went to the MTV Beach House the other day, and we filmed, and like, so they had me on there, and they're like saying, oh, you're part of the family now. You got a show coming out. So like, and that comes out on the 23rd, I think.
Got it.
So
you're just kind of waiting until they.
Waiting, man.
Yep.
And like, again, my mom just calling every day. And like,
I thought you were gonna be on TV.
When are you gonna be on? Like,
when's Justin coming back?
Oh, dude, I'm going for 4th, dude, all the time. Like,
hey, are you coming home? You bringing that Justin with you?
So I'm going for 4th of July, and she's like, now let Alex and Drew know that they're invited. Their girlfriends can come. Is Justin gonna be around? Does he want to come?
That's
I'm like,
amazing.
I'm like, what? I go, why are you asking? Well, we have so many bedrooms. I'm like, don't have brothers and sisters and families that are gonna be coming too? Like, don't they want the rooms?
I just love the mom like perspective on this weird, like on this weird life that we live. Like a mom in Indiana trying to wrap her head around it. Like there's just no way. That's how my mom.
I put her in 2 of the episodes, and she's gold.
That's amazing.
I did this one. I won't say who the artist is, but there was this rap group, and the night before, I go, I called my producers. I'm like, yo, where we're flying into? I go, my parents stay there in Florida. I go, I'm just gonna spend the night with them, and I go, I'm gonna do like the whole like show intro with them, get them involved, and I go, I want them to come to the episode. And they're like, I don't know if we're pressed for time. I don't know if that's gonna like we have enough time. I was like, dude, trust me, hang up.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, now you're gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah.
So I was like, so I shoot that, and I bring my parents on, and because I figured instead of me trying to explain like these rappers and their personalities and their lingo,
Yeah.
I was like, because otherwise it's just gonna be like I'm just listing facts, and it just now it seems informative, not cool. And I was like, but if I take my 66-year-old parents and I ask them like, hey, what does this mean? And they're like, swag. What's swag? Now it becomes funny. And so now now my parents are like interested, and like so now when they're around, they're asking these people questions.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden my mom's getting secondhand high on the green room smoke, and she's like,
it smells like skunks in here.
So yeah, they're hysterical.
Yeah,
it's just
Midwest moms are always good content.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
for the most part.
Yep.
How exciting, man. That's what like I said, I said it earlier, but what I love about the story is how it came like, so you've went through so many different channels, you know what I mean? And to go once again from wanting to meet Rob to now you have your own show on MTV, like that's pretty nuts. You know what I mean?
It's so surreal. It's like, you always have these dreams when you're like growing up, like, oh, that'd be cool. But it's like, at some point, like you kind of got to be realistic. Like that's like, obviously you can be successful, but like if you're like, I'm gonna play in the NBA, like that's an intense like thing to go for. But that doesn't mean that you can't play basketball. It doesn't mean you can't like coach high school and make a living and like have some sort of like involvement with it. But it's just like, I don't know. I figured I could make a living doing videos, but I never like, the dream was to have a TV show, and then it's just like, now it's happening. And then they're like, all right, so what's next? I'm like, what are you talking about? This is what I wanted.
Like, I don't know what
Can't
to
I
do
just
from
chill
here.
for a minute?
Yeah. You've done clothes and stuff too, right? The Run It stuff?
Yeah, I got some clothes that just, and like that's like what I wanted to talk to him about. It's like once once the videos took off and I found that it was like this inspirational kind of like message or like this uplifting kind of living life kind of vibe,
Yeah.
then the clothes just made sense.
Yep.
Then like run it was just this phrase that I said to like anytime like I was like afraid or like fear was coming over me.
Yeah,
Like
like
if
a
I
let's get it sort of
yeah, it
thing.
was just kind of like, you know what? Like the reason you're feeling like that is because you desperately want it and you want to do it. So it's like, why not just do it? So I was like, run it.
Yeah.
So then I put it on like a t-shirt and stuff. And then kids, like I would start saying it in my videos and then kids would start commenting on it. And then I was like, yo, so then I would put on a t-shirt and then it started selling. And so then it was like,
Do you have an Urban Outfitters shirt?
yeah. So I did Bieber loved the phrase run it.
Yeah.
And he would be, our two favorite things to say, he would always quote run it to like goof with me, but he loved it. And we'd always quote, "This is the sickest cat car ever," from
Fantasy Factory.
Yep,
That's
because
amazing.
like when he found out I could do the Rob impression, that was like one of my go-to lines. And there's a clip of him in Iceland behind this waterfall. He's like, "This is the sickest cat car ever."
That's
Like,
amazing.
so we'd always like that was always our inside joke.
Yeah.
And
That's funny.
so Bieber was like, dude, I was like, yo, I'm gonna make some of these run it shirts. And he's like, I want one. I was like, oh, of course.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can have it. You're like a walking billboard.
Yeah.
And so I make them. And he's like, yo, you should sell them on the tour. I'm like, what? Would it just pop up a table like at these shows and like
It
sell
doesn't
them?
really work like that.
And he's like, obviously you'll have to give me a cut. And I was like, dude, I could give you 90% of the shirt, and I take the stuff I make off 10%.
Yeah.
It's more I could do on my own.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, we'll have to talk to Scooter about it. I'm like, whatever you want.
Yeah.
So one day I'm with Scooter in his pool, like chatting it up, and he's like, man, I love that phrase, run it. I was like, yeah, so does Justin. I was like, he was telling me I should just sell the shirts on tour. I was like, he'd make more off. I was like, I'd make more off the 10% than he would on this, or I would on my own.
Yeah.
And he goes, yo, make me a run it shirt with Justin on it. And he goes, the rest of the run it stuff is yours, but he goes, make me that one shirt, we'll sell it on the tour. And I'm like, wait, are you serious right now? And he's like, and I'll give you that deal. And I was like, okay. So I went home, found this like one photo I had, and like spray painted run it on a wall and like superimposed it on the graphic. And I came up with like on the back, like, since run it's like deals with fear and like his album was purpose, I came up with like purpose over fear. And then they put it on a line, and then kids start buying it and tag me in it. And then all of a sudden kids start posting Urban Outfitters. I'm like, wait, it's in Urban?
Yeah.
And so it was crazy. So
That's so insane.
it's crazy. Yeah.
Man.
But it was like for myself, like I had this like dream and this vision, and it's like I didn't know how to get there, but like I just, whether or not like I got to talk to you or to Rob, it was like these people like I looked up to.
Yeah.
And it was just like those are the people that like were in my like Twitter feeds and whatnot, because it was like I want to surround myself with that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's only gonna motivate me more. And I think that's like what kids should be doing. It's like, you know, might not have it figured out right now. Obviously, I didn't. It took me until I was 30.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it like if you work hard enough at something, I think if you continue to just chip away at it every single day, and like good things happen.
Yep.
I mean,
And that's what,
look at Dexter. I mean,
look at
he's got
this
a job
guy.
now.
Who won the dart throwing contest, by the way?
It got put on hold.
Okay, so we have a dart throwing contest going on in the office. Dexter's gonna have to clean Rory's house. Like I said, what I really relate to is the not necessarily having everything all carved out of exactly what you're gonna do and the path you're gonna follow, and just sort of following the next step and being a good dude and working hard, and you know what I mean, like that. I don't know. I just think that people underestimate sort of the opportunities that will open up if you do that.
Yeah. Well, what advice would you give to people that were like in your shoes?
The biggest thing for me, at least right now, is to just get started on something.
Yeah.
Like it's so easy. And I do it too. I did it when I started the podcast, right? Like I think, okay, I want to start a podcast. So, well, here's what I'm going to need. I'm going to need these mics and I'm going to need this. Oh, but if I get this sign, then it will look really cool. Oh, but I could. And so all of a sudden, before I know it, I make it this big grand thing. And now I don't want to start because now it's going to be shitty.
Yep.
So what I did was I forced myself to start by putting 2 shitty microphones on a desk. And I got a lot of bad feedback in the beginning because I was bad at it and I was awkward and you could hear the mic shuffling around. And you know what I mean? But it's just, then you get a little bit better the next one and a little bit better the next one. And I just think people are taught a lot this whole dream thing. I don't love the word dream if used incorrectly.
Right, 100%.
And I think people build these big goals, and I think because of the way Instagram and that stuff works now, you kind of see everyone living this dream life, and yours is so much different. And you're like, what the fuck? How come I don't have their life or that car or those whatever? And I just think people really, really underestimate the value of just coming up with a loose idea and just starting on it tomorrow. And then seeing where the next day that leads you and the next day that leads you. And as long as you're always moving forward and you're educating yourself and you're learning and you're doing, I think you could stumble into a really happy life that you didn't think
100%.
was necessarily meant for you, you know? But that's a large reason why I now am doing this podcast, is because I learned that. I always say that the greatest gift I was ever given was being shown that it was possible.
Yeah.
You know, and like luckily when I moved out here, it was right before Rob was a pro skateboarder, which was really cool.
Yeah.
But I watched him become a television, not only executive producer and genius in writing television, but become a superstar and have all these brands and then I made other friends who were doing similar things and other friends, and I've seen the story play out.
Yeah.
And that was the coolest thing, because once you see it play out enough times, you know that you can do it too. And so by doing this, that's why I love to tell these stories, because it's the same way a kid now could be sitting, listening, or watching your Instagram and think, oh, Rory's got it all figured out. He has this show on MTV.
Yeah.
He knows how to use a camera. He knows exactly what he's doing. But what they don't realize is up until 30, you were just doing what felt right that day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, I don't know, this seems cool and this seems cool. And I don't think people value that enough or are taught that enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, 100%. I
That's
mean,
kinda
it's
my
like
thing.
what's cool with this podcast that you do, like you basically take people, you prevent people like me from showing up at your house. Now you get these stories.
Or
get
you
the
encourage
like,
it.
No,
Because the next Rory could be like, I love your podcast,
100%.
dude.
Yeah. But like,
That's
that
what you
happened
want.
to me. I'll tell you that story in a second. But I mean, it's just like this. Like what I wanted from Rob wasn't like to hang out with him and be best friends.
yeah,
I
yeah.
wanted the knowledge.
Yep.
And like what you're doing with this podcast
Yep.
is like you're taking different people, whether it's my favorite person or whether it's this person's favorite person.
Yep.
Like you're taking people that they're definitely listening to and they're telling their stories, and it's like that knowledge is like it's so valuable, and that's
Yep.
like that's ultimately like that's what I wanted, and
Yep.
like that's why I was hustling so hard, and
100%. That's the goal.
yeah,
You know, because you just don't understand the value of even hearing that somebody didn't know what they wanted to do until 30, or that somebody made these mistakes, or that somebody felt out of place here or worked a shitty job. Even the knowledge of knowing that you're not wrong is so powerful.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Because everyone thinks that everyone else just has it all figured out, and they're the ones who don't know what they're doing.
dude, it really came full circle the other day. So I had my 33rd birthday.
Uh-huh.
I go out bowling, have a long night, have sleep on a couch,
Mhm.
Uber home the next day, and it's like still a little drunk and hungover kind of happening. I'm walking up my stairs and I see this guy and I'm like, oh man, a homeless guy? Like how many get past this guy? Like why is he sitting here?
Yeah.
And I look back and I read the sign that says, I'm not homeless, I'm just looking to network. I'm like,
Bullshit.
I swear to God.
Because he knew the story?
So my buddy on my birthday decides to make a Snapchat, like, so I get locked out of my house a lot.
Yeah.
And like,
I saw one of you trying to climb your window. Or
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that window now is locked because I decided to post it. And I was
Yeah.
like, well, if
Oh.
somebody finds out where I live, they can just slide in the window.
Yep.
So now it's all locked. And all this time I could have just called my landlord. Didn't realize that until the third time it happened.
Yep.
So now house is all locked up, so you can't get in. Anyways, so this guy, my buddy was making a video, and he's like, oh, look, I'm locked outside the house. And I'm like, dude, make sure that my address isn't in that before you post it. He's like, yeah, cool. Address is in it. And this kid sees it, and he's like, oh, I won't go there on your birthday. He's like, yeah, like, I'm sorry that I'm here, but like, I saw like this really old video about like you saying taking the initiative. And I saw like how you told this Deer Deck story, and like you told the
man.
sign, and
That's
so,
amazing.
and I was just like, what do you want? And so I sat down, like we sat outside my house and like talked for like 30 minutes. And he was just like, he's like, all I really want to do is just like, thank you for like, you know, like the content you make and like telling me like, you know, like to keep holding on. And he's like, but also like, if you ever like trying to like go on a hike and you need somebody to go, like, you know, here's my info. And if you ever, you know, hit me up, you do, you don't, you
Yeah,
don't. I
yeah.
was just like, all right, I respect that. So
Are you going to do it? Like, would you? That's and
Yeah,
just
he seemed like a harmless guy, and it's always like, I go like, I'm not afraid of the daytime. It's the
yeah,
nighttime I'm
yeah,
afraid of.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We've just
So
always, I don't know, we've always had a weird. Because like everyone's just a person, and you want to look out for people and you want to be nice, but I don't know. Like there's always you just never know what you're getting yourself into. It might not even be that he's going to
yeah,
stab you and murder you in the bushes, but he could it could just be a miserable 2 hours of like weird, a line of questioning and like, okay, well then I'll see you tomorrow. Then I'm just going to show
well, I mean
on up.
that's the thing. I could always just be like, yeah, only like I can only be here for 30 minutes, and if it's cool, you can just
Yeah,
I can keep hanging out. But
yeah,
it's like I did this thing with Airbnb, and where you could sign. There's these Airbnb experiences where you could sign up and you could pay $60, spend the day with me in LA.
uh-huh.
And I'm like, spend it. And I was like, because Airbnb is like, we'll give you this much money to allow you to host you for 2 days.
Yep.
Whether people show up or not, we'll give you this money. And I was like, that's a no brainer. I was like, nobody's gonna show up.
Mm-hmm.
Sure enough, I put it on the internet. It sells out 6 spots. Sells out for the next time 6 spots. And I'm like, all right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I go rent a minivan, pick up these kids at this like restaurant I like to eat at, and like get in the van. And it's like that first like, well, they're here for me, so like
Yeah.
I can just be myself. I don't have to worry about like that awkward moment. So I'm just like dancing in the car, like playing music, screaming,
Yeah.
and like they're like having fun. They're all got their cameras out filming and geeking out.
Yeah.
Then we go to the beach, go on a couple of hikes. Dexter comes tag along, and
Dexter was one of the winners, huh? I want to spend the day with Rory.
he's like, "Yo, I'll just come. I can help you. Like, just come. Take
Just
photos
like
if you
whatever.
want."
Like, is there gonna be
Like
any
that's how
girls
he's like,
there?
"I don't want to pay $60."
Were any of the winners girls? Could we send me their Instagram pages?
But no, but like it was really cool because like now all these kids like they literally just I was an open book. They got to ask any questions like,
Yeah.
"Hey, like do you think this is a good camera?" Like, "Hey, I'm having trouble like balancing my glide cam."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, let me show you." And it was a lot of fun because it literally it brought me back to that Rob moment where it's just like, man, like all these kids are like they're not like, "Oh, can I get a like." They just wanted the
Yeah,
knowledge and
yeah.
they wanted to. They were
That's-
hungry for chasing what they're after,
Yeah.
and they just wanted to like, how'd you get this? Or how'd you
100%.
do that?
100%. And that is, you're right. You're 100% right when you say that is why I do this podcast, because then it does alleviate. Like, you can just listen to
Yeah.
this and you don't have to ask me. But I will say that's always the balance. Like, you feel bad for not helping people out. You want to help everyone out. It's just that we've also had some experiences where people, you give sort of one thing. You say, yeah, man, what do you want to talk about? This. Okay, cool. And then all of a sudden, a week later, that person's banging on your back door. We've had that
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
And it's like, fuck. So you just can't let anyone in because it's too risky.
100%.
And then you run into these problems, whatever. So I don't know. That's always something. I mean, now luckily we didn't have like Instagram Live and stuff like that in those days where you can kind of
Yeah.
connect with people
100%.
a lot. But
Because
no,
I
get
do
it.
that a lot. Like I'll get messages and like I try to go through all my direct messages and I'll like before I accept or decline it, like I'll read it. And if it's like, oh my God, I want to meet Justin Bieber, okay, decline.
Yeah.
Okay, hey, like this video connected to me, like I was struggling with this and like it helped me overcome that. Cool. I'll respond to that because it's like that's what I'm trying to do with my brand. That's what I'm trying to connect with people and help them. And then there's like some kids like, hey man, I'm in LA for like a week. Like I'd love to, meet up with you and ask you some questions and like maybe they have like a real purpose or something and something they're after. And they're like, whatever time, day or night, like if you have 15 minutes for coffee, like I'm there, you let me know. And it's like, sometimes I'm just like, yo, meet me at this Starbucks, meet me at this McDonald's.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, cool.
That's really
And
cool.
so it's fun. It's because it's always like, I know what it was like to get here and like what I had to go through is like, yeah. So I got to remember to always be able to pay it forward and
I
give
like
back.
it. On that note, my final question is always this. If you could have just a moment with young Rory, and I'll say, I always try to pick kind of a time frame from the story you told. So I'll say like young Rory who maybe just is sort of getting banished from everything in his high school because he went a little too far on a video and he feels really secluded and he feels like he doesn't understand how the world works and he doesn't know what he wants and he's just a confused little Rory.
Oh, that video is going to come out one day. And it's going to be bad.
If it does, send me the link. If you could tell that little Rory anything, any little gem of knowledge from everything that you've been through, and you've not only, what I love about your story is you've not only been through it, but you've been around mega celebrities, you've been around Bieber, you've been around all these people and all the problems they deal with too, and all that. You've just seen it all. And so my question is, if you could tell young Rory anything, what would you tell him?
First, I would say do not shave receding hairlines in your head to look like Tom DeLonge, because they just don't come back.
Never works out.
I thought it was so cool. Anyways, now I would just say, like, you got to believe in yourself. And it's like, people aren't going to hand you anything in life. And whether you come from money or you don't come from money or whatever your background is, if you, like, for me, like, making videos and all that was like a dream. And nobody, like, handed me, like, knowledge with a camera or how to do it. It was just, I like capturing moments, and this is what I was after. And it's just, I self-taught myself, and it was like, cool, if this person can't help me, like, I'm not going to, like, let it destroy my dreams or bring me down. It's like, sorry, you're just not on my path. You're not there to help me do this.
Yep.
This person here, maybe you can help me. And it's just, you got to remember your end goal and, like, why. And if you're doing things for the right reasons and you believe in it hard enough, like, it's going to work out.
Yeah.
I really believe that. And, like, you know, it doesn't matter if you're 18, you think you have it figured out, or you're 30. Like, it literally, I get people all the time hit me up saying, like, yo, like, the reason I connect your stories because, like, I'm 45 and, like, I'm divorced and I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's cool. Like, you don't have to know. Like, that's like the part of life. Like, I hope that, like, you know, I'm never like just, well, no, I don't ever want this to become like a 9 to 5 to me, where it's like, oh, cool, now I got to, like, do another season of TV. I want it to be like, okay, now I'm done with this. I want to, like, what's next?
Yeah.
Like, you can always not know what you want to do in life. And I think that's, like, the beauty of it. It's just finding things that, like, you're interested in and passionate about and believe in. And if you are, then, like, those things happen naturally for sure.
Yeah, I agree. That's a great way to end. Here's plug time. Social media, where people should go, what they should look at. Lake Life Volume 7 coming soon.
Yeah, there's gonna be there's an episode on my show where we go to the lake with one of the people. I mean, it's already on my
Lake Life is on the.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Lake Life 5. It's crazy. It's
But it's on your YouTube now, the old Lake Life.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and 4.
So what's your YouTube?
Just you can type in Rory Kramer.
Got it.
Go on there.
And then what about Insta and all that stuff?
Just Rory Kramer, RoryKramer.
Great.
Yeah, so that's all of it.
And then be on the lookout for the show, which we can't say the name yet.
Yeah,
but it's coming any day.
Yeah, I mean, if you're familiar with me, you'll hear it when it comes. I'm gonna be blowing up the feeds, talking about it nonstop. There are people like, gosh, shut the fuck up. Just put the show out already.
I love it. Thank you, man. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It was a lot of fun. It was good.
It was great.
And on that note, and we're out.
Yeah, thank you, Dan.